I just realized we were muted that entire time. That's funny. That's funny. Well, anyway, as I was saying, we were looking at a few names here. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. We have Kaelnor, your boy Ross, very crisp, all great players. Also want to name off Bastion, King Kaizen, and Asiento Ace. Those 6 players, you know they're going to be putting on a show. And one that's more familiar that we saw in qualifier number 1 actually had to fill in. Frozen in Q, our 3rd place placement in qualifier number 1. I'm expecting some fireworks today. What about you, Crashy?
And I think I remember the kind of the storyline behind that. Frozen is like a newer player or launch player, at least new to us, and he's been popping off pretty well. So really looking forward to that. And like I was just saying a minute ago, Moktola, someone that I've bumped into, I think it was in scrims, and hey, I think I'm gonna boost my ego a little bit. I think I'm a pretty decent player. Moktola wiped the floor with me the one or few times that I bumped into him. So looking forward to seeing what kind of play style he brings to the table. I don't really know much in depth about him, so it'll be fun to see what kind of build he's running, what the kind of strategy is, and overall I'm looking forward to a ton of these players. We got a pretty nice little lineup going on. You brought up your boy Ross hitting the snipes on stream. Looking forward to seeing that, and yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Absolutely. And I know you were muted during that introduction, but this is actually Crashy's debut for Element. So everyone, welcome in Crashy, our beautiful backup play-by-play caster. And if I'm ever out, he'll be taking over the colors. So welcome in. Great to have you here. And I'm looking forward to an amazing show. And we'll be getting into game number 1 here very, very shortly. Now, in terms of strategies, I know we've been seeing quite the plethora of builds, especially now that Shadow Step is back in the game. We're seeing a lot more Toxicologists. Of course, everyone runs their reliable Pyromancer. Conduit's always a strong one, and even Tempest is making its way out here. What are some builds that you're expecting out here, Crashy?
Listen, man, if Megaverse has taught us anything, Stone Shaper has a place in this game. And Stone Shaper's divisive, it's strong, it's weak, it's fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of it. So and the other thing about it is there's the storyline of we are going to be playing 3 games on NA, 3 games on EU, and we do see some of these players lean into some of that Stone Shaper class, the Pyro class, because it's a little bit easier to deal with the latency and the ping. And so we might see a little bit of that, but we also might just see another dominating player coming out on Stone Shaper. Megaverse dropped like an 11 kill game. I think he got like top 5 in that game, somewhere decent placement, but was really, really aggressive on Stone Shaper. And that's something I personally really enjoy watching.
Absolutely. You make a good point there, too. Exiles and damage are weighted pretty heavily in our scoring system, as we just reviewed right before this broadcast. Of course, your placement is going to matter a lot, but in between, like, 1st and 5th place, there's only a difference of 25 points, and Exiles are worth about 15. So if you're really aggressive and you can really rack up your damage score and your Exile count, you're going to do very, very well. And that's exactly what we saw Megaverse do yesterday. He had an 11 bomb, like you mentioned. I think he did end up getting 4th or 5th place. But despite the relatively low placement, he ended up carrying him to 2nd place on the event, which was really, really nice. Now, we're about to get in here pretty soon, and I'm really, really anxious to see who is going to show up today. Of course, like we said, plenty of talent going into this one, and I really want to see who's going to rise the cream of the crop, because we have plenty, and I mean plenty, of beautiful names here in this list.
All right, let's jump right into the action. We're going to be going into game number 1 of 6. Going to be playing on NA, and right now we're on someone somewhat competent. So he's just going to be dropping in. 41 players left alive in total. Finds himself a little teleport rune, and he's going to be playing the Tempest class, so we'll be peeking in with him a little bit later on as we're just kind of traversing the map, looking for a little bit of action. And another thing to note, another Stone Shaper that I just, his name popped in my head was Nasty Sniggy. He was popping off yesterday too. He had a pretty cool play in one of the games that I think led him to a victory, I'm pretty sure. Now we just see like a lot of this early game lull. It's all about finding the loot that you're looking for, finding those scrolls. Scrolls can be amazingly important. They definitely want to get read up. They want to get knowledgeable and educated.
Absolutely, and I just want to call out the kill feed. It's disappeared now, but we saw Kaelnor actually exiled Moktola as the first exile of the game, and we see it there now that it's updated. That is a huge, huge blow to Moktola early on. Now, thankfully, we do only have the 4 games out of 6 that carry on, but now we're in the middle of a fight here. Looks like it just ended. Frozen in Q goes out rather early as well. I'm expecting a few upsets today now that we have this going on.
Yeah, Thorax finding that quick exile, that quick elimination. He's going to go ahead and put himself up on the board. And yeah, Frozen going out early, Moktola going out early. Unfortunate for their first game. But again, for any new people that are paying attention to the broadcast, we're going to be running 6 qualifier games here, and your best 4 games are going to be what count toward your total score. Now we see physics teacher just bouncing around here over by the cathedral, taking a little bit of damage from that shockwave, and we do see it's like a 1v1v1 real third-party type fight. We're gonna be looking around. Donut's dad throwing out some of these slaps.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that you got to be prepared for, is that you might be in the middle of a fight, but you also might get jumped from another angle, and we're seeing that actually play out with Donut Dad here. He's going to be, it looks like they're single file line here. It's like a family of ducks. They're just going in line and just slapping each other around. And now, looks like he's getting turned on right here. He doesn't have that high of a belt, and he's going to be taking a ton of damage. Teleports out, though. Let's see if he can reposition, and if that works out for him.
Yeah, the repositioning looking to come out. He is going to be throwing out that toxic bomb, that toxic cloud. The reposition uses that vanishing mist, but that's another shadow step 1v1. The damage is coming out. It looks like Donut Dad is very low. He jumps into the cloud. That's going to be Juice finding an exile nice and quick. You see him. Oh, look at the loot. Oh my goodness, OSK. The legendary loot, the belt, the amulet. He could not be in a better position right now.
Absolutely. He definitely took a trip over to the Mana Vault before this one. And we see in the kill feed, your boy Ross is already making himself known. 1 exile already. Now here we have just Nova just checking around the Arena of Elders, but there's no fights going on in that arena. We're going to be keep on looking around. It looks like we might have already entered the mid-game lull state, where everyone just sort of looks around for any sort of fights, but never mind, the lull is over. This man's about to punch the ground if he ever gets to it, but he never does. Kaelinor is going to exile him mid-air. What a float.
Yeah, it looked like a broken roller coaster or something there, just kind of bouncing off the ground perpetually. Unfortunate, not going to be able to get himself down to the ground. That shockwave was it was an interesting little animation right there. You know, just kind of stuck. He's going to be using that overload to get himself a dash charge. Kaelinor just going to be moving around, looking for some more loot. And I actually did see that there was a kill in the kill feed from Somewhat Competent, so getting himself some additional damage and points as well. So we're going to be looking around for more action. The player count has cut down to 24. Now we are on Somewhat Competent again, rocking the common Tempest there, so he does not have a good win gauntlet. But look at this, a Ciento Ace taking lots of damage. He's going to have to try to disengage here. He does have a Shadow Step, no charges of the rune. He's forced to use some of these health potions, and he does have that recovery, so presumably we're going to be getting a little bit of healing onto a Ciento Ace. But now it's a little bit slowed down here, OSK.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he's hiding from. We're not able to get a good view of his opponent over here. It looks like he might be towards the 120 mark on that compass, maybe to the other side. We really don't have enough information of this, but we do have quite a bit of loot there in the distance, a possible bait. But we're going to hop around and see if we can find another angle on this. We do see Very Chris already trying to make himself known here. He's actually opting not for the conduit that he's known for. He's going for Toxicologist on his off region. Very, very interesting choice. He is doing the Dragonfire build, it looks like, with Shadow Step for increased outbreak. So let's see how that works out for him. It doesn't look like he wants to take any engages despite being fully armored and full health here as well.
Yeah, no one finding a kill. Yushiro finding a kill in the kill feed as well. And Chris taking it a little bit slow. Like you said, this build, Toxicologist finding its place in the meta with that addition of Shadow Step, you know, returning to the game, being added to the game post-launch. And now they're just trying to bounce around, find a little bit of damage, but the third party coming in, 1v1v1 here. And this is going to be the Dragonfire build, but focused on Toxicologist, using that Flame Wall to just kind of block off his sightline, block off that entryway. And Chris might just look to disengage here. It's not the best position to fight him, but hey, look, find a little bit of damage here.
Yeah, I would imagine the ping is definitely playing a factor in this. Chris, as we mentioned, is an EU player, so he's not going to really be landing as many shots as he would like, but he is playing this so passively. It's not really something that is characteristic of his play, so I hope he turns up the aggression here in the future, especially running that Toxicologist play, that Toxicologist class. Maybe we switch over another angle and see if we can get another fight in the action here. He is in the middle of quite a bit here, but it's not looking like he's going to be doing much.
Yeah, and you see those toxic sprays coming out from long range. It's a good way to get some corrosion on your enemies, you know, get a little bit of extra damage. We're going to be cycling through, like you said, see if we can find some action. And this is Zyment.
There we go.
looking for some of these ice lance shots, these long range snipes. He's going to land one. Will he be able to land the second? The shadow step coming out, looking for the shot, is not able to connect there. But he does have this updraft, and he's playing that bouncing around sniper position. We see this build come out from time to time, looking for some of these wind shears to see if he can finish the fight, looking for the snipe, finds it again. He's got this player on absolute 1 health. He sees the shadow step. He's chasing it up. Will he find it? Yes, he does.
Oh, wow. That was quite a snipe there. You know how hard it is to hit those on the way down. Even on the way up is a little bit easier. He manages to hit 2 in a row. It's absolutely beautiful snipes. Now he has all that loot to himself. Hopefully he doesn't get third-partied himself. And we see Bastion just kind of enjoying the scenery here. Look at that beautiful blue fire in the distance. Great job to the Proletariat team to get the visuals on point here. And now we see Juicy Louie just kind of backing up. It looks like this is in the angle of your boy Ross's field of vision here, as he is just going to fly away with that beautiful new skin. Look at this one. This kind of reminds me of a Monster Hunter sort of vibe. Maybe a little bit different with those ears going on at the top. But now we're going to see Yoshiro in the middle of an engagement himself. It's hard to shoot through a firewall there, and now he's just going to jump on him.
Dragon fire coming in. Yes, that's going to be a quick elimination, a quick exile coming out from Yoshiro. No one actually finding an elimination in the kill feed as well. So we have to know that he's got a couple on him. But Yoshiro putting a little bit of space here. He's going to go ahead and back up. He has this Ice Lance, this Ice Gauntlet in that offhand. So he's going to be playing the Pyromancer class. And he's just going to go ahead and disengage here. You know, he got his elimination. He doesn't have a ton of shards in his inventory. So we're going to be bouncing around. And now we're on Juice, presumably finishing up a kill. He does have 2 exiles to his name, and he's going to be using the last little bit of shards that he has. And this is your more common Toxicologist build that we've been seeing, the kind of Toxicologist Ice offhand, running that Shadow Step, the legendary Shadow Step in the inventory. And he's just playing the field smart, looking for some of this damage here.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely going to be wanting to get in close and use that triple outbreak potential that he has. He needs to be careful with that fire user right there. We did see the firewall come up, and now it looks like he just has a free shot, and there's one. Now he just needs to find 2 more, and he'll be good, but he teleports away. So nothing doing here. Maybe we switch off to another angle as he is opting to heal now that he is nice and safe. We see Just Nova right here. It doesn't look like he finished anything up very soon. He might still be in the middle of a fight here. He is on the slower part of it, though, as we are just looking for enemies at this point. It's like it's so spread out in this mid game that people have so much space to escape to that if you engage and then somehow teleport away or fly away, you're going to be pretty safe, honestly. And now we see Vilthrin TTV, of course. Gotta promote that Twitch. He's going to be looking from the high ground here on the wall. Looks like he's going to be a third party in this engagement.
Yeah, Eternal using some of the shards that he has. And one thing I've actually noticed is that a lot of these players don't have a ton of shards. Zyment got a kill onto Yoshiro and then was eliminated as well. That was your boy Ross finding an Ice Lance onto him. So we're just looking around for some of the action. This lobby has been going very fast, very crisp. Gets taken down. The lightning bolts are going to eliminate him from this one from Kalinor. And now your boy Ross again. He actually does have some shards. He's looking to disengage here. He does have the Harmony talent, so he's able to keep himself on that ice trail without getting CC'd. He's not going to take any shocks or anything like that. And he's going to get the reset that he's looking for. He can continue his reign in this game. He's got those 2 exiles, but now he's just kind of rotating, looking for the fight here. Potentially the lightning strike coming down on him, but he uses that flash freeze. That's going to be blocking that damage. He has that immunity, and now he's just taking it a little bit slow yet again.
Yeah, not only does it block damage, but also, like you said, gets that CC immunity. So that was a beautiful play by him, trading sorceries very, very cleanly. And you know that he has to be so confident with that Frost if he's going to be running the actual class Frostborn. Not exactly the best that we've seen in solos, but if he can make it work, if anyone's going to make it work, it's going to be your boy Ross. Now we see King Kaizen playing a little bit passively, wants to play for placement possibly. No exiles to his name here, but he's just looking for any sort of angle he can get. He does have the correct tools to be able to make this work. Is running the Pyro, so definitely a good mid to close range option along with that long range Frost. And the Shadow Step is going to be an interesting choice. Maybe he uses it to line up a few Frost snipes while not being seen, just like his opponent there with the Fireball coming in. Maybe he uses it for something different. I'm not quite sure, but either way, he is playing this quite passively.
Yeah, looking to disengage, King Kaizen does take a bit of damage. And he does have some shards. He's got 2 of those big shards, so he'll be able to kind of keep himself healed up as long as that doesn't turn into a full send engagement. But Kalinor is on the chase. He has this player down to no more shields as Kalinor takes the top of this castle, takes the top of this tower. He's just looking down, playing this. Look at that. The beams coming out, the lightning bolts. He sees the teleport. Kalinor might be on the chase.
Absolutely, although I'm not sure if he knows where he's chasing to because he's not really tracking the guy very well. And now, oh my goodness, look at the damage coming out from the conduit class. That potential energy is stacking up quite nicely. And if he gets the Exile onto this, not that he'll need it because look at his health and his armor. He does have the scavenging, so he'll be able to just regen. Even if he gets third party, if he can steal one out, there it is, the full health and the full armor. And now he is ready to engage on this third party. And look at this, it's just going to be a melt fest. Oh my goodness.
Melt fest, the lightning bolts are coming down. Kalinor finds a quick exile onto King Kaizen. That's the second one back to back. He makes it look so easy, just completely beaming those players as he is going to go ahead and get some of this free loot, basically free for him. But Bastion, he's going to be here on the edge of the zone, taking a lot of damage. He's trying to get away from some of these combustions. Oh my goodness, this is a tough situation to be in, but he can potentially reset here. He looks like he's kind of squealed himself away, found a comfortable little pocket here for him to reset in, and he is fully educated, fully scrolled up. Unfortunately, he does not have the thirsty, so it does take a little bit of time. But Juicy Louie finding himself in an engagement. He's using this Firefly, just trying to reposition a little bit. He's going to be Pyro with that offhand lightning, but no, your boy Ross comes in with the Ice Lance.
Absolutely, that Ice Prism doing tons of damage, and now he finds himself in another situation here. This has to be Kalinor. If I remember that skin correctly, he's taking so much damage, but I know your boy Ross can fire it right back. He does have the Ice Prism on that Frostborn skill. That's an extra 35% damage, and now he's going to be coming right in. That's exactly how you want to play it. You want to play it close range, but he is in a health disadvantage. He'll need to kite away and see if he can get that last little bit drunk up right there. The recovery is going to help him out as well, and now we see a Pyromancer, different party right here, coming right in to his face. Let's see how he does in this chaotic final circle.
Your boy Ross popping the flash freeze. He is going to be the player out here on the edge, and he is using that Ice Lance to the best of his ability. That's going to be Bastion finding an elimination onto Eternal, and Kalinor finding an elimination onto no one. So 3 players, the 1v1v1, and your boy Ross has some potential to make this third party happen for him. He has the potential to find some damage. He's going to be looking to push in. You know, the lightning beams, the lightning bolts are going to be coming out. That's Bastion getting eliminated. 1v1 Kalinor versus your boy Ross.
That's beautiful to put down the sorcery to block all of that lightning, and now we just need to land one more. One fireball will do it. Just get in his face and land it. Get in his face and land it, Ross. Oh my goodness, and he does. He takes it over Kalinor. 6 exiles to the day, as well as Kalinor. I do believe he was in the 6 to 7 range. What a beautiful final play. Using that frost sorcery, that flash freeze, you know it blocks the lightning bolts. It's exactly how you want to play it. Maybe that's the entire reason you picked frost. That
Man,
so nice.
What a close one. I just wanted him to gap close so bad with the fireball of your boy Ross. He listen, we could say that could have been a potential misplay. We could be a little bit critical, but your boy Ross is, if not anything else, he's confident in the Ice Lances. That's not what ended up getting him the elimination, the exile, but he was taking his shot and he was comfortable, he was composed, and eventually he jumped right into it. So we're gonna have to look at this again, man. That was crazy, but he does take down the conduit.
Absolutely. And one thing to note is that Frostborns actually have in their class, maybe it's a bug, maybe it's not, their Frost Lances actually go through firewalls. So this is why he's still trying to line one up, even though there's one there. It does end up dissipating, and he does play the close range quite well. The Ignite from the firewall helping him out as he does close that out in the close range. Exactly what you want to do with that kind of build. So great stuff to both of our contestants there. We'll be getting into game 2 here pretty shortly, but what were some other stuff that you saw in that game that you wanted to break down, Crashy?
Man, I feel like there was a healthy amount of eliminations and exiles coming from everyone. Like every time I'd look at the kill feed, it was like Yashiro was getting kills. Thorux had got a couple kills, and then he got eliminated. Your boy Ross, when we weren't paying attention, had got a couple kills. And so, you know, I'm not sure where we're going to see the standings land, but it really did feel pretty balanced that game. It didn't really feel like we were watching one person just kind of like dominate through the field. We really had like a situation where everyone was doing pretty good as long as they didn't die off spawn. If they didn't die off spawn, if they didn't have, you know, some of these like competitive players landing on top of each other, then they had a pretty good game, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up. We didn't have anybody get above 6 exiles that game, so it looks like the kills were pretty spread out as we're aware. A bunch of 2s, a bunch of 3s, maybe even a few 1s in there. But either way, the damage scores are going to be looking pretty good. No one got above 2,000 damage, oddly enough. So again, everybody's spreading the love today. Everyone's getting a little bit of damage, and hopefully we'll see. I don't want to see a lopsided contest. Let's get that right. But I would like to see if anyone can bring up the double digits, especially if we whenever we switch regions in the second half of this, or maybe if everyone's done getting their warm up in, we can get into game 2 and have someone really pop off.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. We saw a plethora of different builds, a lot of recovery. I was expecting to see a little bit more thirsty. You know, that talent. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. You know, it feels like the spirit talent is very preferential. Like, you know, some people are going to be playing the thirsty. I've seen Marcus start to lean a little bit more toward thirsty. Kamsky's been running a lot of thirsty, but recovery, I mean, how can you deny the viability of recovery? So it's always interesting to see what builds come out. If you've got the fervor, if you have the scavenging, but some of these, you know, like A tier, S tier talents, we're definitely seeing them coming out from these players. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, when the difference and what the build differential is when it comes to thirsty or recovery. That's something that I've been personally paying a lot of attention to, trying to get that like kind of analyst mind behind me so I can really understand where these players are looking to shift their builds depending on either one, their play style, or two, the build that they're playing specifically.
Yeah, and another thing I want to point out, we saw a lot of harmony that game as well, as opposed to runic fluency. Now, maybe everyone knows that there's going to be at least one lightning user in the game, so they don't want to get stunned. But we saw people like Ross having that reaction time to be able to put down your flash freeze, your I forget what it's called, but anyway, he puts down the flash freeze, gets the immunity, and he's able to just completely cancel it out, both damage and CC. So maybe he didn't even need it that time. Maybe he's just afraid of getting shocked on his Frostro. But either way, we'll be going into game 2 right here, dropping right in. It's actually your boy Ross, exactly who I was talking about. It doesn't look like he has any company though. So even though the early game's a little bit suspect for Frostborn, it doesn't look like he has to worry about it too much, as he will just be looting up King Kaizen, getting a quick read in before his action starts for the day.
I think I just saw Yushiro go down in the kill feed, so that is going to be unfortunate. Juice finding himself a kill early on. And one thing I wanted to bring notice to, you know, this might be a learning experience for someone that's watching in the chat, some of these Frostborn players. You know, we watched your boy Ross just win that last game, and look at how he's landing. You know, we know that the Frostborn class, that Ice Gauntlet, is not going to be the easiest, you know, off drop to use, but Flying Pie is trying to stay alive here. He's just trying to back up his spot in this little situation, and Moktola is going to take advantage of that positioning and find himself a kill. So Moktola putting himself on the board. He actually has 2 exiles this game. But just to jump back to my last point, you know, you have to think about some of those things. You know, you have to have a strategy going into the game, and it clearly seems like your boy Ross is trying to stay away from action early because he knows the weakness of the class there.
Yeah, we'll get back to that thought here as Dozen Pinner looks like he's in the middle of an engagement himself. The toxic spray actually blocks the frost there. That's another interaction that people need to be aware of, is that you can actually just completely cancel out a giant ice lance with a tiny little toxic spray. So keep that in mind as you go into your public games. But we're seeing that he's actually getting the advantage on what looks like a bot, unfortunately. He is standing still. So let's swap off of that. Illegal sandwich combination. You can't tell me that's not a bot.
No, I've definitely run into a legal sandwich combination, but we're going to be jumping in with King Kaizen. Kaizen's got that nice epic dash, which is definitely gonna serve him well this game, as we're just kind of surveying the field. We're always looking for the action, somewhat competent, back alive in this one, playing the Tempest class yet again. And hey, he's actually running dexterity. That's a talent that I see used here and there. To me personally, it's hard to give up fervor. It's hard to give up scavenging, but hey, you know, to each their own. That's the beauty of this game, the beauty of the build diversity and some of these talent choices. As a Ciento ace hanging out here across from the cathedral, maybe looking for a third party, playing a little bit sneaky, just surveying the field.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to call to your attention here, it looks like Kael'Nor actually didn't make it into this lobby. I don't know if it's Wi-Fi issues. I don't know if he just missed the queue, but he is not in here. So I'm expecting a few more names to come up, especially since he got 6 exiles and second place. That has huge implications into this. Thankfully, he does have 2 games to throw away, so this will most definitely be one of them to throw away, and he has those other 4 that he can use to possibly improve his score. But now we see very crisp. Looks like on the offensive here, Pika Nerd is going to go ahead and finish up that exile.
Doze and Penner goes down. Is very crisp. Is, like you said, just looking to potentially third party this. Is he going to be able to do it? I don't know. This might just fizzle out into a disengage. It's very crisp. Doesn't have any shards in the belt right now, but he's going to go ahead and pop up. And yeah, I mean, we do have 6 games total, so this shouldn't hurt Kellanor too much. But we'll have to see who does this give a potential good game to. You know what I mean? Like that variable change does exist there. We see Crisp is going to be upgrading that Fire Gauntlet, finds himself an Epic, and there's 27 players left. We haven't seen a ton of action this game. Frozen might be looking to get into a fight. This might be some of that chase. We already see a third-party potential right here. 3 players in the fold. As Frozen's just trying to slam down some of this damage. The Shockwave is connecting. Potentially, if this player will hit the ground, he's just hoping for it. But now the Toxic Sprays are all over in the face of Frozen as he's just trying to disengage. And this is a tough situation to be in. You know, this player clearly kiting off the ground.
Yeah, and you're seeing the sad reality of getting slapped in the face with Toxic. It's pretty much just one slap, and your entire armor storage is just gone, because that corrosion adds an extra 12 damage over time. Those four damage ticks, you get 3 ticks of 4 damage. It's brutal. But now we see Doom General just enjoying the sky. Maybe I see a nice little pig, a nice little swirl in the clouds today. But while he has his head in the clouds, we're going to go ahead and swap over to Defective TV. There's nothing defective about his play, though. He does have this man on the back foot. Let's see if there's a turnaround, and it looks like there might be. He is getting ignited from the firewall. He sees another fight to his left. That might just be your boy Ross. I'm not quite sure. Could be any Frost user really, but he will be just sitting pretty. Looks like he's in a safe spot other than the zone coming in, so maybe we'll hop around and see who else is getting in the middle of a fight. We see King Kaizen go down in the kill feed quite early. Lanky Sea Moose is going to be the one taking him out. Now we see Samurai Defo just dragon firing an opponent, it looks like, getting right into the action. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah, Samurai Defo looking to land some of that dragon fire combination. He does have this conduit player potentially landing a lightning strike, and it's just a back and forth fight. But Samurai Defo, he definitely seems like he's kind of stuck and grounded to the ground. I'd like to see him reposition here a little bit, but the shields are not in his favor. A lot of damage is coming out, but a big trade coming out from Samurai Defo. So he's going to be looking to potentially close the gap, and now it's just fireball spam from a distance. The lightning strike does come out. Will Defo be able to change the situation that he's in currently? The recovery is doing a little bit of work for him, and now he's looking to push in. The Shadow Step coming out, the dragon fire combination not going to connect, as they are just going back and forth, playing off this middle background. Defo trying to see where this player goes. He has that Firefly, just going to use it for a little bit of added mobility. Another Shadow Step, and that has been just the tempo of this fight is back-to-back Shadow Steps, as Defo is going to be on the last foot. Moktola finds the exile. What an interesting fight. They were both keeping their range, and this is actually Moktola on the Pyro class, so not going to be a conduit, but they're keeping their range. They were both getting low. They didn't want to full commit to it. Unfortunately, that's going to be the end of Defo's game there.
Yeah, we're going to get over to the killer of King Kaizen here. Lanky Sea Moose putting up a coup d'etat, and now he's going to be frosting everybody. You like frosting? I like frosting. It looks like this man likes it too, because he's eating a bunch of it. And now, let's see if he can get into his face. But it looks like there's a third-party situation. Let's see if he can close it out quite quickly. Wants to get those 15 points on the exile. Let's make sure he doesn't get last hit by another third party. Oh no, I think he might get that kill stolen.
He's trying to make it happen. Lanky Sea Moose is on the chase, but one thing he does not want to do is take too much damage from the chase. And there it is. That's going to be Juice CF going down. Lanky Sea Moose lands the nice snipe there. That Ice Lance is going to go ahead and sink that one. No one finding a kill on the kill feed to Asiento Ace. And now Lanky Sea Moose, he popped that shard. Wow. He lands another snipe, but his health is dangerously low. That's Zyment finding the elimination.
Yeah, I think he got in between 2 different players there. He was kind of sandwiched. We saw Zyment on the front part, and then we have an unknown Pyromancer coming in from behind. So unfortunate pinch for him there. I did see that he had about 3 exiles, so that'll be nice for him. And now we see Zymet just kind of holding his Frost. Interesting approach there. Not the best thing you want to do. You definitely want to be using that movement of the Tempest to sort of bounce around, make yourself a harder target for any fireballs. I know that fireballs take quite a bit of time, but now he is getting melted by
the lightning bolts coming out in the back as Zymet has to reposition. He is a Tempest, so he's just up in the sky. He has to use this dash to potentially get down, using some of that momentum to space out. He's looking for any situation to find a reset here, even using some of those wind shears to create a little bit of space, and you see the chase, the flight rune coming out. Ooh. He lands a nice snipe. Zymet constantly on the kite. This is what you have to do if you're playing that Frostborn class, or actually the Tempest class, using that Frost Gauntlet. It's your main source of damage, that burst that you're looking for, and he has found the situation where he can reset here. Lands another Ice Lance, lands the third. That's going to be an amazing kill coming out from Zymet.
Holy moly, he was so confident in that Frost. You see him just poke himself out, even against the conduit. That is a hard counter, actually, to the Tempest gameplay, to the Tempest class, and he just has all the confidence in the world to go in Frost. And now Very Crisp has all the confidence to go ahead and push this fight. Let's see if he can get that last hit, and there it is. 1 exile to Crisp there on NA, his off region. Good stuff to him. And now I think he's going to be looking for this third party, unless he was eliminated. I don't think he was. I don't see it in the kill feed. So there is still someone to worry about here, and it looks like he's trying to keep an eye on him right now. Beautiful stuff from Crisp. Great aggression.
Yeah, Crisp, just taking it slow, and that's what you got to do. Sometimes you got to dip into the action, or you know, dive into the action, dip out of the action, and look at that. Using the Vanishing Mist, trying to find an outbreak. He doesn't have it just yet. And again, running that Dragonfire Toxicology class build. You know, used to seeing a little bit of Frost, but maybe he's just a little bit more comfortable here being at that latency disadvantage, and now he gets to go back for the loot. He's going to find Legendary Toxicology Gauntlet. Legendary Gauntlet. No, Crisp is going to leave it behind, but he's on the chase. He's got, hey man, he's a man with a mission. He's looking to land the damage. He's going to do so. He's going to get a little bit low himself, and he doesn't have any mobility here, so that vertical chase is going to get a little bit stunted as Crisp is just kind of rotating around, but a little bit of a reverse chase here. So he's going to be having the pressure coming down. Now he sees the player there getting in.
Oh, the fracture!
Just walks out of the fracture, but this is the zone pushing all this pressure, and that's going to be no one landing the fireball, getting the exile. That's back-to-back for no one in the kill feed, as we're going to be jumping around, and this is another fight happening here. You already see the flash freeze coming out. It's your boy Ross has to reset, looking for some shards.
Yeah, and interesting enough, Ross actually doesn't have any exiles yet. Now there are still 8 total people left in the zone, so maybe he can look for some quick targets here. But I don't know what changed during this game. You would think that with Kael'Nor being out of this lobby, that there would be more opportunities to get some sort of exile going. But there's nothing for him yet. Let's see if he can make that change here. We see Zymet on the back foot here, though. He needs to be able to land those frosts like he did earlier. Hopefully he can, but he definitely on the back foot. Needs to back away for a quick heal. Need to watch for that third party as well, because we just saw the Frostborn come out right there. Looks like barely misses him from the Frost Trail.
Yeah, and Pika Nerd actually looks like he's kind of healing up. That might have been that same engagement, and Bastion just takes a random flame wall. Hello? Can you leave me alone? I'm just trying to rotate, bro. So now it looks like Bastion, he's looking to engage now. He did pop a little bit of a shield or a potion there, getting stunned there. He does not have the harmony, so he's just going to be going ahead and rotating toward the zone. He doesn't have any more shields, so Bastion, although he's still alive, you know, top 8, 0 exiles, he's not in the best position. But Moktola, he's having a game right now. He's got about half shards, half shield in the belt, 4 exiles, 8 players left alive, and he has this high ground control as well.
Yeah, and let me call out something very interesting for you. First of all, we're going to get into this fight here. Ignore my point, but Moktola is going to be making himself known right here as he already melts off the armor. Still some armor of his own right here, and the Shadow Step is going to be coming in quite handy to prevent any sort of easy sight of him. It looks like he did lose the first man that he was trying to exile, but now he'll just rotate off. And it's unfortunate for him. He picks up the dash there, you see. He's going to be getting a little bit smoother, a little bit better mobility out of it. Now we see Eternal. It's like jumping on Moktola's initial target. This man is not going to have any opportunity to heal. I don't even know why you would go there. Combust is going to be making your day a Well, it's going to be making your day pretty bad. I was going to say something else, but you know, PG-13.
Yeah, Eternal just looking to finish these fights, and that's something I feel like I've seen this game. There's been a lot of like fights that are just struggling to close out. He's just trying to get in closer, but Eternal's actually taking a lot of damage. He had a full belt going into this engagement, and this enemy player was 1-2 shots maybe, and now Eternal on the back foot is forced to use the rest of his shards in the inventory. 6 players left alive. He's looking to close the gap. The Dragonfire combination not gonna land, as he's just hugging toward the edge. He does have the zone pull here, and your boy Ross, it seems like, has gotten the last couple of kills, but ultimately not a ton of action, and now it's starting to pinch in. All of these players are just converging toward this final zone, and Papa Eternal is going to find this player out here on the edge, and that might be your boy Ross. You see the Ice Lance coming out from the edge. He is going to jump into the storm. He is going to find, he finds the elimination onto Moktola, but he's so low, and this positioning is not where he wants to be. If one player spots him out, it's not going to be a good situation. So 4 players left alive. Bastion finds an elimination in the kill feed onto no one as well. And you see your boy Ross using the flash freeze, trying to land some snipes. Again, playing the outskirts of the zone. It's the position that you want to be in, not only for this particular build, but just to try to stay away from that third-party pinch. You want to be the pincher, not the pinchy. You see somewhat competent using the stealth. He has this Tempest, and he's just been kind of taking it slow this game.
Absolutely. I definitely wouldn't want to get pinched. It's not St. Patrick's Day yet, and he is going to find himself frozen right here. This is a free damage for your boy Ross, but it looks like somewhat of an even trade. Somewhat competent almost gets exiled right here, and I believe that he will in the end, but it looks like he just separated himself. Wow, what a distraction he was able to put on by the third party here, and now it looks like he's free to get some sort of healing off if he can. There's a lot of action going on. He doesn't have an extra
Ross
charge.
Goes down to Eternal, yeah, and you know, he does have Thirsty, and he's got the Invis, but he doesn't have any scrolls red in Thirsty, so I'm not sure if he's going to try to take the chance to stealth heal. Bastion trying to fly around. His mobility economy is burned, and that's Eternal finding the Exile. Now a 1v1. I believe, yeah, it's going to be Eternal, absolutely one hit, going up against what I believe is somewhat competent, also one hit, and he finds the quick fireball. Somewhat competent, not able to reset or find the reset he's looking for, and that was a scrappy game, man. Everybody was just fighting. Fights were getting away left and right. People weren't able to close out. That was a really interesting one to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And it was just like the first game, you know. We saw a bunch of people get quite a few exiles, so they were just spreading the love in this one, I guess. There's no real clear front runner, I wouldn't say. Your boy Ross did make it to top 3, or top 4, I forget the number, but anyway, we saw Eternal really have himself shine on that one, especially. But your boy Ross consistently in the top 5 discussion for sure. Now, one thing that I saw there that I want to point out is that we saw your boy Ross and one other person, I forget the name, they were running scavenging, but neither of them had exiles when there were 8 people left. So I don't know if at this point you want to change up your talent pool. It looks like scavenging isn't really coming into effect there if you're not going to be closing out exiles. So maybe they opt to go for a dexterity build, or maybe they hop on the fervor if it works out in their build. I'm not really sure what your next talent selection would be, but either way, during that game, they weren't really getting much value out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some end game value that you can get. I mean, your boy Ross, he eventually ended up finding a couple exiles toward the very end, so I'm sure that helped him get to that top 3, top 4 position. And in terms of talking about a front runner, really, it's actually hard even for us who've just sat here and watched every single perspective to clearly name someone. I do expect your boy Ross to be sitting pretty high in the standings currently, and other than that, man, I think it's gonna be pretty close. But we're gonna be going into the last game number 3 here on NA before we take our halftime, before we swap over to EU. And again, Kalinor, he wasn't in that one. Kalinor wasn't in that one, so he's missing out on one of the games, but he's still got all of his EU games ahead, as well as this next upcoming NA game. So we'll have to see how having him and not having him in the lobby will affect things. What kind of score shifts are we going to find? And again, the big thing for me is what kind of build diversity will we see swapping regions? That's always a really fun topic to look into.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect some of these EU boys to go ahead and get more aggressive with their approach. I know we saw Crisp get the 1 exile there on Toxicologist, but he's still playing it rather passive. Damage score is a little bit low. Exile count's a little bit low, so I'm expecting things to change from his perspective. And he is known for his conduit play, and he's not playing it on his off region, so maybe the higher ping is preventing him from doing that. I'm not really I'm not really sure if he is going to opt for the conduit or if he's going to stick with the toxicologist. Whatever he wants to do, that's up to him. But if it were my prediction, if Kalenor can get into this next game without any problems, I would say he has prime opportunity to go ahead and just open up on the lobby, because we saw there, even your boy Ross, who finished in second place in the first game, only made it out in fourth place, 2 exiles, not really making himself known while the other big contestant is out of the game. So I would expect this lobby to open up really, really big. Definitely make this one one of the best 4 out of Kalenor 6. And keep in mind that we do only count the best 4 out of 6 games. We're going to be getting here into game number 3 here pretty soon. Crashy, do you have any predictions if Kalenor makes it back in?
Predictions, man, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of waiting for someone to pop off. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like all of these players are sitting in that potential energy stage. Like, they have the potential to blow up and have a pop-off game, and we're going to see Moktola taking an early fight. He does have an offhand gauntlet on top of being a pyro, so, you know, the early game fight for Moktola here should be a pretty good cleanup as long as he doesn't take, you know, a misstep or take some kind of a shockwave. You see him just hovering off the ground, landing this damage consistently, playing his angles. This is pretty textbook off-spawn fight for Moktola. He does take a little bit of damage, but there he goes. He's going to go ahead and find it. So yeah, I mean, an easy textbook fight off spawn. That's definitely something we expect from any of our competitors here.
Whoa, that actually might have been just a little bit harder. His opponent had an epic belt, and you're telling me that Moktola didn't have any kind of belt going into that. So that means he basically just fought a man with double the health pool that he had, and he made it look easy. You saw how he was positioning himself. That little ravine in Bogmore actually doesn't let your shockwaves go through it. So he was positioning himself very, very well, and obviously getting the better of every trade if he's beating a man with double his health pool. Now we're going to see Yoshiro go right in. Looks like interrupting the looting of all of his fellow contestants. Let's see if he can seal out an exile before everything goes down.
Yeah, Yoshiro does have that blue dash in hand, and he has the green belt on, but no armor in the belt right now. So he's just going to go ahead and back up. Maybe he'll be able to find a belt upgrade. No, unfortunately not. But Yoshiro does not want to lose a game here. Juice CF is finding a kill. Zyment finding a kill as well. And this is going to be no one hanging out here looking for some potential extra loot. Zyment finding an elimination, and King Kaizen looting up. He's got great loot so far.
Yeah, I just want to say how announceable King Kaizen's name is. King Kaizen. It's beautiful.
It is. Yeah,
absolutely.
It is.
It sounds like a pirate whenever you say it like that. But now we're going to be going into a very crisp right here. He finds himself in the awkward spot of this engagement.
Just dodging the Dragonfire combination there, and he does pop what I think was like that one small shard that he had. And this looks like a mostly disengaged fight for him. He's just trying to back up. He's not in the best situation. That's going to be, you know, at least a fire gauntlet, maybe a pyro behind him. So he's just looking to continue to create some space. He might have to step on the gas here and look for a fight. We'll have to see Frozen finding a kill in the kill feed. See how that develops. And now this is just that long range poke. Crisp is really handling this well. He sees, look at that, the textbook Dragonfire coming out. He sees the player, predicts the movement, and this should be a nice and easy cleanup kill. Chris is going to go on ahead and take out that player there.
Yeah, I dare say he absolutely finessed him in that latter part of the fight. Just no contest. It was all Crisp. He even had a health disadvantage, and you just saw all of it just melt away. Beautiful stuff from Crisp. On his off region, I have to reiterate, he is going to be coming out much stronger in EU, I would expect. So keep your mind set on that for the second half of our tournament here. But it looks like he's just going to be sneaking around. He doesn't want to play too aggressively. He wants to kind of get that placement score as opposed to the exile and damage score. So interesting choice from him. We see Zyment going into Fort Halcyon, looks like getting his spin on with the tornado. And now Defo finds himself, I believe, outside of an engagement, about to get back into one right now.
Yeah, Defo, unfortunately, he has to use the shard on a white belt. I mean, not something that you'd like to do, but look at this. This is that engagement, and he's got to use it. He's got to do what he can to win this fight. So he's looking to just kind of reposition. A little awkward fight going on here. But he's a pyro, has that rock offhand, and again, that's a great dash to have in the inventory. He sees this enemy player here. Now it's getting in close proximity, but the third party, the Toxic Spray, you see that coming out from the back of Defo as Defo definitely wants to be pulling himself backwards. And oh man, the Dragonfire, the trails, the sprays, everything coming out. And this is not a great situation for Defo. If I was him, I'd be looking to potentially full disengage here. And look at that, the Toxicologist, that potential toxic spray damage is just chasing perpetually on the back of Defo. The Dragonfire might be the third party that's coming out. Defo is having a hard time repositioning here. He throws out that flame wall, does not get a Firefly off of it, uses a dash into the side of the rock, so Defo is in a tough situation. His movement economy is so low as Defo trying to peek under here. He's just doing anything in his power to potentially reset and find some repositioning, get some damage down. But Defo, if he finds one more hit, he might be able to get something going, but he's just struggling so hard here.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind, he is not running scavenging either, so even if he gets a hit off, I mean, he's not going to be recovering anything from it. He needs to play this very, very safely, get away from this, but it looks like very crisp, if I remember the skin correctly. He is just absolutely suppressing him, as well as that third party with the wind shears coming in. Oh, it's got to be so annoying. And now the tornadoes come in. Very crisp, ends up taking the better part of that fight here. I think he actually did a toxic spray into the tornado, therefore crediting him in the kill, but he actually has some armor left over, so he'll be able to take this second person right here if he can find him. The teleport coming in is going to make that very hard, but if anyone can do it, I bet you Chris can.
Yeah, Chris just looking to chase up on the damage. He's got that legendary toxicology gauntlet, that legendary toxic gauntlet rather, and he's in full engage mode here. He wants to find this elimination. He wants to finish this whole fight up. That whole third party coming in. I'm not sure who was that third pinch player, but now Chris, he does take that shockwave, so he's going to keep himself moving, just trying to avoid some damage. And man, again, another one of these really scrappy games. He even has this player directly in front of him. Oh, that's potential. That's the shockwave coming out, and that's going to be frozen, punishing that movement there as no one finds a kill onto Just Nova in the kill feed as well.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. You saw Chris get hung up on those boxes there. Who put those boxes there? I want to know. Proletariat. Who was the dev that put that there? Unfortunate for Chris there. He does get hung up on one of the smaller things that you can mess up there with your Vanishing Mist. So unfortunate for him. He does get 2 exiles though, which is more than his other games. So at least he has something to show for it. And now we see Jagimo or Jagamo, I'm not really sure how you want to pronounce that one, but with the legendary loot, he is looking quite well. He even has that legendary amulet here, and that lightning offhand is going to be making itself known. Maybe he can land a quick stun into a toxic follow-up. That's what I would expect from him. And he is running the spring step, which is an interesting choice other than dash and shadow step. But look at that lightning coming out. Easy work for Jagamo.
Yeah, Jagamo. I want to call him Yagamo. I'm not sure if that's the pronunciation. Either way, we'll have to get some clarity on that. But one thing to note, I don't know if this build is intentional. I don't know if he's just rocking that lightning gauntlet because it's what he got. As we see the kill feed, Juice CF finding a kill on assignment, but he was running Harmony. So if you use that elemental interaction, you kind of create that EMP toxic cloud lightning combination. He will not get stunned by it. So I'm excited to see him go later into the game. If that's the actual build that he's going for, or if that's just kind of like the side effect of looting, the RNG of the game giving him that legendary gauntlet. So we'll have to see as how that develops. But Lanky Sea Moose hanging out on top of this tower. He is going to be at the edge of the zone, and he's got 3 exiles to his name already, and this is a scrappy fight again. So he's going to be going ahead and using this Vanishing Mist and just might be looking to reposition here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure who would be the clear front runner in this sort of game. It looks like we're still spreading the love. And it looks like Lanky Sea Moose might be able to get a cheeky little snipe onto this one. If he can last hit him, we're actually playing League of Legends, and he wants to get his creep score up. This is how much the last hit matters to him with that 15 points. And it looks like he's positioned himself just a little bit far from the action, but that's a nice snipe coming out. What a beautiful bit of positioning there to be able to have the line of sight to be able to make that happen. Now he's going to get found out from another Frost user there as well. We're going to swap angles here and see what kind of action we can find from someone else. Dozenpinner with a nice boulder coming in.
Oh, follows that up with a lightning bolt. He's going to dodge that lightning strike as well. The secondary lightning strike coming out, that's going to be one of his own. And this is a Stone Shaper wielding that offhand lightning. Not a build we see too much. It is very great at covering various ranges. I want to see him use some of these shockwaves as the player is going to be playing really close and loose on the ground. The lightning strike coming out from his opponent yet again, following it up with one of his own. They're not going to connect. The back and forth shockwaves as Dozen is really kind of losing some of these trades here. The movement economy is going to be low. That third party coming out. You see those toxic sprays, and if a shockwave lands onto him, he might not be able to survive it. That's going to be 4 different players right here. That's Thorax finding that exile onto Dosen. And now Thorax, we do swap over to his perspective. He has this player absolutely one shot, no more mobility in the tank other than a potential Firefly. He's looking for the snipe, not going to be able to connect with that. And this is Thorax. He's trying to finish it. One shot finds the second. That's going to be Papa going down. Not sure who that is right there in the kill feed. Thorax finding a second exile, and look at this. This is just non-stop back-to-back action as the zone is closing and all of these players are fighting out here on that storm line, OSK.
Yeah, and you see the tech coming out from the spring step. He is using that levitate to get that extra little bit of distance off the spring step. So very nice for him. Very low cooldown as well. And now he's going to be in this engagement. He's going to have to use that rune very, very effectively if he wants to find himself on the winning side of this. But it looks like he is, and the Pyromancer Combust is going to carry him into that one.
Thorax takes down Lanky Seamoose. No more Ice Lances for you, sir. He says this is going to be my storm, my zone, my edge, as now he has 5 exiles to his name. Absolutely big game coming out here. So now we see Bastion, no exiles, but 4 players left alive. This is going to be a nice, humble 1v1 out here on this outside castle. See Bastion looking to close the gap, using that dash. The lightning strike is coming out. Might be a potential third party or just a lightning strike coming out from that enemy player that he steps himself into. So we do have the Pyro Dragonfire combination coming out in the hands of Bastion. He's not going to let this player reset. He's going to close the gap. He's got this dash. Is he going to find the kill here? Looks for the back with the reverse, the Toxic Bomb actually landing in the face. I think he might have ignited that himself. He wants to finish this one, but he's taking a bit of damage for it.
Yeah, and at this point, just use your Dragonfire. It's a huge AoE. He's not very high on health. Just do it. Yeah, there you go. Should have done that earlier because he did. It looks like he does have recovery. He was at 20 HP at one point. If you just throw down that big AoE, I mean, you might end up sealing the exile so much quicker. But now he finds himself separated from the fight. He can't even finish it, not getting any value from the scavenging. And
yeah, that's
what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's unfortunately the situation with some of these longer fights. You know, you run the risk of just running into somebody else, and now he is able to reset a little bit, and that kill hasn't been lost just yet. The Dragonfire combo, he actually ignites that Toxic Cloud, so it looks like he's just trying to pinch in. He wants to find some kind of value out of the fact that he's in top 4. You want to find some of these eliminations. Those extra damage, those extra elimination points are going to mean so much. So he does have this high ground. He's consistently looking to pinch in. We want to see Bastion get into the action. He's just taking pop shots. At this point, it's basically a passive situation to be in where he wants to stay alive, and this is going to be frozen now. We see the Stone Shaper finds one shockwave, finds the second. Thorax gets eliminated. That's 8 to his name right now. 1v1v1, 3 players left alive.
Yeah, and I want to point out that Frozen was actually here in the first qualifier that we had. He ends up filling in for this one, but he is a new player. He is a release player, so he does not have any experience with the pre-alpha, alpha, or beta stages. He is just out here gaming, and look at this. He is carrying the lobby with 8 exiles, about to make it 9. Look at his movement go on right here. His opponent is out of armor.
Chasing up with the shockwave. He's trying to chase up this player, and that's the beauty of the Stone Shaper Pyro build, a build that I've personally been playing a ton of. It is all aggro all the time. You're just constantly looking to jump inside the face of the enemy player. Bastion finding an elimination onto Yagamo, and this is going to be the last final 1v1. Frozen looking to clean it up. He doesn't have much more mobility. That final dash is not going to be able to land that boulder, and this is the situation that Frozen is in now. He is grounded, not much mobility. He might be taking a little bit too much damage. He has the player absolutely one hit. Will he be able to follow it up with a fireball? Now, using these shockwaves, he wants to armor back up, find whatever situation he can to just keep himself a little bit tanky, and a little bit of a reset's coming out here. 8 exiles. Will he be able to find the 9th and the win, and currently holding a 1 or 2nd place position? And again, you have to close the gap, and this player is kiting on the high ground so very well. The boulder's going to be getting combusted, broken down by the fireball.
Wow,
he lands a little bit of the shockwave, and Frozen, he wants to finish this. He's getting so very close. He closes the gap. The Firefly lets this enemy player escape as Frozen, he wants to chase, and this is the weakness and the strength being shown off of Stone Shaper right here in a single breath. As Frozen, he's just desperately trying to get inside the face of this enemy player, and the kiting is a beautiful. The boulder fall lands absolutely one hit. Will he be able to find the extra damage? And he does. Bastion goes down. Frozen puts out the damage he needs to do. He's constantly on the chase, showing why Stone is strong and weak at the same time.
The exact same time, and we saw him turn on the afterburners there. It took him a little bit to seal that one out, but you saw just how much he was slamming on the W key. He's like, give me it, give me that little bit of extra boost. He's running through firewalls. He's running through fireballs as well.
Listen,
and Bastion has to be counting his lucky stars for having recovery.
with Fire is such a good build. It is such a good build, but that is the situation where it is so frustrating to play because all you have is the fire, right? Like at a certain point, the stone is just the shockwaves are useless. You're using them to ground yourself. You're using them for mobility. You're using them to armor up. But man, if you don't have runic fluency, which I'm glad he does have, because I've tried playing Harmony on that build, it's hard. It's really, really hard. Sure, you take a little less damage, but at the expense of being able to get close to your enemy. And he was just struggling. He was struggling. That was for no other way of putting it. He was struggling to find the damage, to land it, to be able to solidify that elimination. And he finds it. Not only is that going to be more damage, he gets the win, more points. Man, but that was hard earned, hard fought.
Yeah, definitely. And like you were saying, it definitely just shows how much you're going to use your offhand gauntlet whenever you're running a build like Stone Shaper, especially if someone like Bastion, someone who is very, very experienced. We're going to look one more time at this and look at the kiting come out. I mean, this is just beautiful stuff from Bastion, making it as hard as possible for Frozen to hit him. Now, you see this boulder. Ordinarily, if you're not running recovery, by the way, you wouldn't survive that, but he does have just enough to survive 33 damage, despite being at about 20 earlier in the fight. So just goes to show how strong recovery is, and also goes to show how important it is to get used to that fireball trajectory, as it is absolutely important if you're going to be running that kind of build. We're going to go into a quick halftime break here. It is the end of game 3. We'll be hopping on over to EU here pretty shortly. Crashy, anything to remark on before we get to this beautiful halftime break?
I feel like these games have been very close. We just saw kind of a pretty nice pop-off performance coming out from Frozen. I mean, he had a lot of exiles in that game, and he finally gets the win. So that's like really the first time that I feel like I've been able to pinpoint a player and say, okay, this player is doing very well. He did die in the first game, but again, that's just one game. He died early, no big deal. One game, he's got 3 more to put himself back up on the board, and we get that switch, that storyline where we're jumping over to EU after the halftime. And now some of these players, I mean, they're playing well, they're doing their thing, but now it's their time to shine, and they have those 3 games to make it happen. And I mean, that's what I'm looking for. You know, and the cool thing about me is, like, I'll just straight up say it. I don't know who's all NA and EU in this list. I'm still learning as we go, developing and learning the players. So, you know, Kalinor specifically, I'm pretty sure he's EU. It'll be interesting to see how he does in his own region. If he's not, correct me, because I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see.
I do believe he's NA, but
okay, he's NA.
I might be wrong. I always understood him to be an NA player, but
well, I know there's like Kalinor and Kalinor too, so I could be even getting those two confused.
I think they're both NA, if I remember correctly.
well, geez.
let's just see if he does better. Okay,
we'll see. We'll just tell the storyline anyways. Whatever.
Yeah, funny to note. Actually, yesterday we had Kalinor in the qualifier number 2. He actually did better on his off region than he did in NA. So who knows what's going to happen going over to this next one? I'm expecting some people to pop off, but if they don't, hey, it's a tournament, so whatever. Anyway, let's go ahead and send off to the halftime break. We'll see you guys here in about 15 minutes, and we'll be right back. See you guys in a bit.
Hello and welcome back to Element Phoenix qualifier number 3. We just concluded our halftime. It's going to be me, Crashy. Got my man OSK. I gotta get this down. OSK, my man OSK over here. There we are.
You're over there,
yeah.
right?
So yeah. There you go. See, look, you got it on the first try. I didn't get to do that, man. I'm a little disappointed.
I had 2 other qualifiers, so I had to figure it out.
There you go. Yeah. This is my debut, man. Hey, give me a break, guys. Give me a break. But anyways, we're gonna be jumping into game number 4, and it's gonna be our games going over to EU. So the narrative is starting to change. The builds might be starting to change. The points are definitely gonna shake up, and hopefully we can get some Kalinor in a game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Kalinor had his region set to EU when he was on NA, so you got it right this time. So game 4, we can finally see you come back. But anyway, can we talk about Thunderson dropping the Thunder Thighs in that last little halftime montage? Look at him go. The Element Administrator himself, and I'm not kissing his butt right now, so, you know, just do what you want. But anyway, as far as Element, if you would like to give to Element, 100% of your donos will go straight to the prize pools. I don't get paid. Look, my wallet, I can show you right now, it's pretty empty. I haven't been paid in like 2 years, so there you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Anyway, just hit the dono button downtown there in the Twitch channel. and you'll see your name just up in lights right here. Don't you just love those colors? It's great. I mean, there's tacos there. There's E. I mean, that's a great color scheme for me. What about you, Crashy? I'd like to see you up there too.
Yeah, I might have to do that. I might have to do that here pretty soon. But hey, man, we'll see. Maybe you guys can help us out. We appreciate you. No, we do appreciate everybody for hanging out, for watching. You know what I mean? We have a good time here. So yeah, man, I'm looking at we were talking about the standings a little bit in the halftime, and I don't want to say I'm shocked because that almost sounds disingenuous and like not fair, but no one's sitting in first place currently. And it's maybe we just haven't seen a lot of his pop-offs yet, but he's sitting in that first place spot. So what are your thoughts, OSK? What are you thinking?
And between his placements, I mean, it's not anything like he had one top 5 placement and his damage has been consistent across the board. I think I'm going to chalk this up because your boy Ross is in second. Your boy Ross kind of fell off in game 3 right there. He only had 137 damage. So no one doing a great job to keep his score consistent here. Consistency actually carries him up to first place so far. Now, keep in mind, like we always say, we do have the best 4 out of 6 games that will be counted. So if he can get even higher, that's great. But we're going to have to see how the EU side plays out because there's still a lot of wiggle room in this, especially now that Kael'Nor is finally back in a game. Hopefully this time we'll get a game counted for him as we drop into game 4 here very, very shortly.
Yeah, and I mean, something to think about with like this 4-game counting system that we have going on is that if some of these players are having poor games, now it's time to step on the gas, right? Like you might need to fly around the map a little bit. You might need to be looking for some of this extra damage. Even if you're not full engaging, you got to look for the potential to get yourself on the board, right? Defo finds a quick kill onto Juicy Louie. Unfortunately, that player is going to go down. And are we seeing another Tempest? Oh, this is like a Conduit game coming out from Somewhat Competent. So he's actually swapped the build up a little bit. Flying Pie is going to be playing the Tempest build, getting in an early fight here with that Rock offhand. So that Stone offhand gauntlet. We'll see if he's going to commit to this or how he chooses to play it. He does have a belt on. He's got a nice spring step as well with the Runic Fluency, 2 charges of that spring step. So we'll see if this turns into a full engage, but he looks like he's taking it slow, right? Like he doesn't want to overcommit. He grabs that epic wind gauntlet. So now we're just looking around the map.
Yeah, by the way, petition to rename Stone to Rock so I can just throw my rocks at people with the boulder. I don't know, it sounds more memeable. But anyway, Bastion is making a meme of this man, dragon firing him for 2 ticks of 20. He already is out of the armor, but he opts to back off, weirdly enough. Maybe he thinks that his belt isn't going to be enough to carry him through. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he's less confident now that he's on his off server, the EU. But he does see the third-party opportunity come in. Look at this reading. He's not even looking at the book, man. This man is multi-talented. I want to explain that real quick. That is a little mechanic that you can do as well as with orbs. You can actually, while you're in the air floating, you can activate it by pressing your interact key, and it'll still carry over the interaction. So that is some beautiful stuff coming out from Bastion with the knowledge. And now the final exile. Oh, he teleports away. Not quite. Let's see if he follows up on this.
Yeah, no one finding an exile in the kill feed. And we do see Bastion. He was hanging out on the edge of that fight for quite some time. So we'll see if he's going to be able to push himself toward this potential exile, this player. You see the teleport coming out, so maybe not even worth the chase. We'll have to see what he decides to do. But I like to throw out this new player potential information as we look around the map, looking for some action. You mentioned the Dragonfire. Oh, Yushiro getting into a fight right off the back. We have to talk about this. He's got the Wolf's Blood rune, so all he has as a conduit is no mobility other than his mana bar, and that is a dangerous situation to be, especially if this is a Stone Shaper. You see Yushiro just trying to find whatever damage he can, but this is a dangerous position to be. The lightning strike not going to connect. Yushiro just landing as much of these lightning bolts as he can. He has to play around this positioning, but the fireball's going to come out. Yushiro's in a dangerous position. Is he going to be able to find some damage? The boulder fall not going to connect. Yushiro again has no really effective rune in this situation. He's dodging the fireball. The lightning strike comes down. Will he get the shock? Can he follow it up with some meaningful damage? He's landing 1 tick, 2 ticks. The fireball comes out, and unfortunately Pika Nerd is going to find that exile.
Hello, Stone? I mean, you got the shock off. Go ahead and land a shockwave. What you doing? But anyway, unfortunately, that Wolf's Blood's going to be more of a cry for help than it is a call for dominance. But anyway, Frozen in Q looks like found himself a nice little belt off the drop there. Man, I just want to harken back to that to that fight. That was so unfortunate. You saw the stun come out, and he had a free opportunity to go ahead and use a shockwave. All his opponent can do is levitate, and that's unfortunate. But now we have Flying Pie getting into an engagement of himself here, and now we see the fireball. Nice connection there. I wonder if he can carry this out, but it looks like he is going to get hard countered by the lightning coming out. That is so
lightning gamer, conduit gamer potential. Flying Pie has to take a little bit of a breath here, sit inside this castle, find some resets. But look at this, the shards are not in rare supply. They're not, you know, they're not dry up in here. He's got some shields to work with. He's just going to be bouncing around. And one thing I want to note is, man, the mobility in that fight, the fluidity that he had coming out from his end. Flying Pie was just dashing around, but it does look like this fight has kind of dissipated a little bit. Got some kills in the kill feed, so we'll have to take a look at that. Looks like Thorax finding an elimination, Defo finding an elimination as well. So now we find Just Nova skirting around the map, finds his way into that name that I just read. It's so funny. Okay, I literally couldn't hold it. I'm so sorry. It's your boy Ross skating around the map. Oh man, what a good time.
Oh man. All right, let's hop on over to Exeral. I'm gonna forget you said anything about it. So let's hop on over. We see the invisibility rune coming out. Man, that's a word. And now he's gonna be, I don't know, he's gonna opt to kite. Actually, I thought he would use it to approach, but I guess not. He saw the third party come in, so maybe he's a little bit concerned about his viability in this fight. Now we see Moktola still rocking the pyro here. Probably a good choice now that he's on EU. I think Moktola actually is EU, so maybe I have my regions mixed up. But anyway, doesn't find any real meaningful engagement here, so he'll just be opting to float like a butterfly. Let's see if he can sting like a bee here pretty soon.
Yeah, he does have that lightning gauntlet, looking to sting with it as he is going to start to get those lightning bolts starting to spray down. And this might be a potential chase, and that's the strength of the lightning gauntlet. You know, you're conduit or not, it doesn't matter. You can get some of that reliable chip damage. It's all about the opener. It's all about how much damage can you force on an enemy player before you initiate, and how much damage can you get on the player before they get to you. But Moktola is playing this perfectly. He doesn't have to full send this. He doesn't want to grief his own game, and all he has to do is just find some extra damage. That's free points for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do get a decent amount of points. That damage score really racks up, as we saw from no one getting in first place so far.
Oh,
so
this is a dangerous situation to be in, though. But Moktola's taking the collapse right now. The fireballs are coming out. Moktola trying to find the space. The lightning bolt's not going to connect. He does connect with one, connects with a second. Will he be able to find this finisher now? The game has changed. Woo! Looking for the beam, and that is going to be it. Frozen, unable to close that fight out. Moktola, his back was against the wall, and he turns it around entirely.
Absolutely, and I'd love to see that one again if we can, just to break this one down. Look at him float in the air. He noticed that he is a Tempest, and he does have that lightning offhand, so this is just going to be an easy follow-up. Now, Moktola hit some amazing shots through this firewall that he's going to put down right about now. And look at this, the blind fire coming out. He does see the health bar. Maybe that's what turned it around. The health bar revealing the position, and the follow-up with lightning is just very crisp, if I would say. Let's see if we can find very crisp out here. This might actually be him. I see the lightning on the offhand here. This might actually be crisp. Like, I did not plan that.
Gamer back and forth lightning bolts as Moktola has himself on the offensive. He's looking for that chip damage again at the range, and that's the beauty of the lightning gauntlet. Like, you know, we can talk about the balance of the lightning gauntlet, but for what it is, the way that it is in the game right now, you can get so much damage, and especially in a format like this that is centered around finding eliminations, finding these exiles, finding damage to add to your damage total, your point total. That's something you have to think about.
What you doing in that house, boy? Anyway, very crisp is just going to be.
Hey, you were right.
That was Chris.
Yeah, that was him.
Look at him on his signature conduit build as well. Now that he's on his home turf, he can finally feel confident about bringing out the conduit. So that's beautiful. Can you say confident conduit 3 times fast for me, please?
Confident conduit.
All right, you're so talented.
Listen, I tried, but I messed up the third one. I got there.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. Now we see Zaymit going in right here. Looks like taking the high ground spot, not really doing much with it though. Now there's no one really in this side. He will have to move here in just a minute. Now he is in the wedge side of the zone, which you would expect people to be in. But now we see Defo in the middle of an engagement himself. It has his opponent down to 50 HP. Let's see if he can follow it up here with that spring step. He definitely has the tools to be able to do it. Now he just needs the mechanics to finish up. Let's see if he can do it.
Yeah, the flash freeze is coming out. He did take kind of the high ground position. They're just dancing around, trading positions. Defo does land a little bit of damage here, but ultimately he's sitting on the low ground, doesn't have thirsty, so he's going to go ahead and drink one of these small shards here. That's going to be 20 shields going into the belt. Because now it looks like a potential full reset. He does start this Mana Vault, but now the Dragonfire looking to push back his direction, and they are floating through the air. The Dragonfire, that's actually a Vanishing Mist coming out. Is he going to be able to land the damage?
Oh no!
Defo jumps into the Dragonfire bomb. He's not going to be able to sustain himself here. The flash freeze coming out again, and it's one more hit. Oh, Juice could not land a shot there. Defo was just kiting. He kind of was a sitting duck there, but unfortunately for Juice, he gets taken down.
Oh my goodness, that was such a missed opportunity from Juicy F. Defo just staying calm, even though he definitely had the disadvantage in that fight. We're going to see it one more time. We actually get 2 replays in this game. Let's go. But look at this. He just can't land a shot. Even when Defo makes the unfortunate mistake of putting down a Dragonfire right next to him, this is just flubbing over and over. And the flash freeze actually got placed so high up that it didn't block. Yeah, it didn't even block any shots. Oh, that's so unfortunate.
And that might have been, if we're analyzing that play, that might have been the kind of big misstep that happened. Really, he might have thought he was safe. He was maybe charging up an Ice Lance. Kaelinor chilling on the high ground. He's in the game. He's in the game.
Hey,
but the lightning strike is coming down, so he's going to take 20 damage. It's not that end game lightning strike. What is it? Double strikes, I think the skill is. So he doesn't have, the 5 strikes slamming down on his forehead. So he's not going to take too much there. Not a big deal. He's going to be rotating out. And King Kaizen, 0 exiles, 1 exile onto this player right here. Your boy Ross hanging out on the edge. Oh, he takes a shot. That's going to be an Ice Lance landing in the face of your boy Ross. He likes to dish it, but can he take it? He does have that legendary gauntlet.
Oh,
and he's not very educated. Yeah, that's going to be another one. Your boy Ross, he does have Harmony, so he's not going to get shocked there. He has got to get out of this situation, OSK.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of our favorites going in. He definitely needs to make himself known on the EU side of things too, since his last NA game didn't go so well. Now he needs to find himself, get on the front foot. He does find himself in a third-party situation. It looks like Moctola is going to clean up that Tempest player here. Actually, no, Moctola cleaned up very crisp. This is a completely different engagement here. So there's still a third-party situation here for It's Your Boy Ross. The Frostborn can still be very, very effective. He does have the legendary rarity on here in the Ice Prism, so the 35% extra damage definitely going to be coming in at some point. But it looks like he separated himself from the fight. Maybe we get a different angle on this. I'm not quite sure, but there's not much going on where It's Boy Ross is. And it looks like Moctola finds himself in a bit of a situation here too.
Yeah, finding a fight, but another thing to look at is just the 5 exiles he has to his name. Gets inside the flash freeze. Is he going to be able to survive this? The damage is coming out. It's just a small little toxic. Hey, just a little slap,
man.
No worries. And now Moctola foot is forward. He wants to find this kill. Wait, was that third party? Did he just lose his exile?
Yeah, I think he just did. He does keep the damage score, but the exile, the 15 points, is unfortunately going to go to someone else. And now he sees a Tempest player. He's like, man, this is food on the table right here. Give me some. Give me that fork and knife. I'm gonna eat today. There we go. Beautiful. It's delicious.
Moctola looking hungry. 10 players left alive. He's got 5 on the board to his name, and now he's taking it slow out here on the edge. We talk about this a lot. It's a good position to be in. You don't need to find your way into the zone immediately unless you're looking for that skill point, and that's kind of the decisions that you have to make in this game. But look, enemy player completely oblivious to his existence. He finds the lightning strike. Not going to connect with that, but he is on the full chase. Moctola covering the range, that short to medium range with the fireballs. He's got the lightning bolts at the long range, and now a little bit of chip damage being returned as Moctola trying to find some additional damage. That's going to be a big Dragonfire landing his way.
That's also a big lightning bolt. He can follow this up. It doesn't get much damage off of the follow-up there. Now he needs to be careful of the zone coming in right here, but he is landing every single fireball. Look at this man go! Sciento aces out of the lobby. Beautiful stuff from Moctola. Look at those shots connect.
Textbook pyro play coming out from Moctola, and that's the composure of watching a player go from being on the back foot to kind of sidestepping, taking their time, being nice and composed. You can see it in their movement. You can read the body language of the player. He was not afraid there. He landed his shots. He finds that exile, and now we're going to be watching Defo. 7 players left alive.
I just want to point out that Defo just got head faked from that teleport. You saw him start his animation forward, and Defo saw the whip around to the left-hand side, but that's not where he's going, but he just got head faked. He just broke his ankles, basically. He just got juked down for his life. And now Defo needs to find some sort of different target here. There we go. Let's see if this conflagration can make itself useful in this situation right here.
Yeah, Eternal getting eliminated. You see the exile in the kill feed from Dopin. And now this is kind of a stacker here as Lanky Seamoose finding that exile on to Defo. Now everybody flying off the top of the house. That's going to be Effect getting a kill onto Lanky Seamoose. This is I think, gonna be one of our lobby players right now. So he's just kind of keeping himself in here. He's in top 3 right now. This man needs to sign up for an Element event.
Okay, let's see the current state of solo queue in EU right now. Looks like it's going pretty good. We have a random in the tournament with the beautiful pink hair coming out. And it looks like Moktola is not even going to be worried about Marijuana Effect. He's actually in the middle of another fight. But I really hope he doesn't get third-partied right here because he is almost...
comes down. What was the damage?
Yeah,
that damage came out of nowhere. That's going to be Marijuana Effect finds the elimination, and now it's Kalinor 1v1. Kalinor only has 1 kill, man. I just expected more. The double Boulder Fall coming out. Kalinor wants to find this kill if he can. He wants to at least get another, exile to his name, find a little bit more points on the placement. If Kalinor can turn this into a decent game, we'll see what he can do. And again, it's another one of those 1v1 situations. Stone Shaper with the fire offhand. Will he be able to land this damage?
There we go. Okay, it looks like he went out of the zone there, but he came right back. It looks like the recovery is really, really helping them out here. Kalinor is just laying down some beautiful fireballs. It would be really unfortunate if we saw a random win one of our tournament games. But, I mean, who is Tempest?
It's Tempest versus Stone Shaper. It's not the best situation to be. If he can hold on to this high ground, it kind of saves a little bit of his mobility to be able to land some of the damage. And realistically, there it is. Yeah, I was gonna say what he might be looking to do is basically wait out the zone until it comes down to a final circle. Because I mean, what else can you do? I mean, you can't fly. You can't chase a Tempest into the sky. It's not possible.
Man, I don't know. That's actually one of the more difficult things you can do is try to hit a Tempest with a fireball. They have all that time to sort of use their dash rune. They can wind jump off of a different surface to move horizontally. They have a tornado. I mean, they have so many tools. But it's great from Kalinor to at least solidify that lobby with an element-related finish. And he's going to end up taking all the value from that placement. And I told you, this is what happened with Kalinor the other day. I love how they have so similar names. It's a great world that we live in. But anyway, it's actually doing really, really well on the EU side of things, despite being on the NA home region. So, it's great stuff from Kalinor. Someone find out who Marijuana Effect is and ask him if he's heard of Element, because I want him in our tournaments. That was actually kind of insane.
He almost got the win. I mean, he was doing pretty good. That was good stuff.
Yeah, let's see if he wants $200.
Yeah, come play, man. We got some more qualifying rounds. You know what I mean? We're gonna be running events. It's good stuff, man. Yeah, no, that was the damage coming out from him. It was really surprising. I forget who he eliminated in the 3rd place position, if you can recall.
I can actually. That was Moktola, who looks like he ended up winning. He actually ended up winning the day on that lobby. Actually, if we take into account his exiles and damage, they were
because he was having a pop-off game for sure. He had 6 exiles. His damage had to have been up there, just on that fact alone. So really just kind of, I guess you could say, W-keying around looking for some of those eliminations, and he had a really good game. We're gonna be going into game number 5 soon. We have 2 games left on the EU region, and man, that had to shake some things up a little bit, because Moktola really that's got to be a nice spike for him, right? You have to imagine that's going to shift him up quite a bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he was in the top 5 coming into this. So I mean, he has 2 more games on his home turf. This is his chance to really, really pop off. And we saw another player that I want to call out, Very Crisp, who I was expecting to do just a little bit better in game 4. Didn't quite have the performance that I was expecting from him. So hopefully in these next 2 games he can really get it up, because I know that Very Crisp is one of He's very, very solid. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. He's very, very solid, especially on his home turf.
I don't know. I was expecting you to say he's very, very crisp. He's very crisp. His play is it's very crisp across the board.
No, you're not going to hear that from me. That's his joke. It's not mine. But anyway, getting into game 5 here pretty soon. I also want to comment back on that random lobby player. I think that really shows the power of Tempest. I mean, if Maybe he just didn't run into a conduit player or lightning offhand. I'm not sure what the exact circumstance was, but he is dodging just about everything except from Kael'Nir. So, and that damage you were talking about, that was from his epic wind shear coupled with the squall buff that you get with 20% extra damage.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, he was not missing. Like that,
it just came out in such a burst that I wasn't really ready for. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Moktola was actually running Pyro with lightning. I think that's what he was running. So so maybe, like you said, whatever set of circumstances that kept those players apart might have kind of led to his doing so well in the lobby. Flying Pi already game number 1 or first elimination in the game, one of the first 2 in the game, as he's going to find that exile, put himself up on the board. You see Dozen Penner just kind of looting around here at this castle. Oh, nice little belt find.
Okay.
Can't complain about that. You know, he needs to find himself a gauntlet. You don't know if there's a fight here for him to pick. There might be.
There
is.
I
saw a little bit of fire. Yeah, fire on the ground. So we'll see what he chooses to do, because I don't think he has bedrock here, but he's looking for a gauntlet. You can tell, and that's what he wants. Oh, look at that, the epic fire. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. That's exactly what you want to do. You know you have the shield advantage on your opponent here, or at least you think you do if it is the early game. Everyone's not really looted up. The belt is one of the most powerful things that you can find early on. It can instantly double your health pool. It's actually insane. Looks like Just Nova is getting out of a little engagement here. He does have the Firefly getting into the zone in here. Maybe he just didn't find any heals or any healing potions from his previous engagement. I'm not quite sure what the exact circumstance is, but Bastion just finds a lone amulet just hanging out in the middle of this field. That's definitely suspect. I would imagine that there was a fight out there at some point. But looking at the kill feed, Very Crisp is picking up 2 exiles. And it looks like we have Frozen and Q getting exiled himself.
Thorax finds, so that's going to be over at the dome up top. And I'm looking at the kill feed right now. I can't even keep up with it. Every single kill that has happened, every single exile that's happened has been one of our players. So they're already starting to thin the lobby across the board against each other a bit, but also just thinning out the lobby, whoever might be in this game. And now we have Yakumo. He's looking to find some of this damage. Look at that, the conduit beams, or not the conduit beams, just the lightning beams coming out. So he's going to be playing that toxicologist role. And we talked about this build. I have to assume this is his build of preference. I don't really recall that I've seen. Oh, look at that, the featherfall. That could deem lethal for this player, and that's somewhat competent. Unfortunately, he's going to go down early to this. But I have to assume that this is Jagomo's build, because I've seen him run it twice. Again, I haven't quite seen it pop for him, so I'm curious to see like how he develops it, or if that's a build that he's looking to play. But Very Crisp, we talked about him just a minute ago. He's going to be in this early game engagement. No more shields in the belt, but he does. Oh, he gets hit by that. Fortunately, he's going to have to go on ahead. That lightning strike pushing him away, so he's going to go ahead and pop some of these shields, these shards into the belt now. We'll see if he looks to re-engage. He does have that teleport coming off cooldown in just a few seconds. Yeah, looking around.
I want to comment on his build there. He's running Recklessness in the Spirit category. He's got Harmony, Fervor, and Recklessness. Maybe he thinks that in the late game he's not going to have any shields, so he gets that little bit of extra damage. I know it ramps up to about 25% and then 25% less mana cost, so maybe that's part of his plan to get that little bit of extra in the late game. Let's see if he lasts that long. But anyway, we have Veilthrim advertising his little Twitch channel. I guess go give him a follow. And now he's just going to be approaching on this little guy over here. But he is running Conduit, it looks like, so he's going to have those extra rune charges. Not quite sure how this is going to play out, but it looks like nothing doing here, as a Frostborn does scare him off of his target.
Yeah, the Iceland's coming through. Going to go ahead and back up, and man, I really am just kind of stuck on Jagomo's build in the back of my mind, because one thing that, and I'll speak from the new player experience, right? Like, one thing that I can say coming into the game from launch, right? Like, I did a couple tests, I'll be honest, I think maybe 3 to 4 total tests pre-launch. So I'm a very newer player in the context of Spellbreak's history. One thing that I can say that really drew me to this game early on was the diversity, right? Like the ability to create a build, to play test and do things. And yeah, some of these things really come out in terms of a meta. You're going to see Runic Fluency, you're going to see the Fervors, the Scavenging, the Harmonies, the Thirsties, but there is opportunity to create a play style for you. And the beauty of it is that if you can make it work, that's what you get to play. And so I'm looking for more of that, right? Obviously, we're going to see these carved out builds, well-rounded builds. We have a standard 2-2-2 dash Dragonfire Pyro. I mean, there's no other way of looking at this build other than just knowing that there's value here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of AoE presence in this one. And like you mentioned, the talents are probably the most clear-cut meta that you can really think of. But even then, people still make off-meta picks work pretty well, like Harmony and Dexterity. And I know Scavenging isn't exactly it's not exactly the bottom of the bucket, but it's still used quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of diversity that you can still pick out, even though that one is generally agreed in a general sense that it might be better than all the others. But in any case, yeah, we're seeing a lot of diversity in these builds, and King Kaizen's another example here. The Dragonfire, we've seen a lot of people run Lightning offhand, Frost offhand, even some Stone. So if you can make it work for you, I mean, that's your build, and you don't have to worry about it being weak or strong. Maybe you just have to be aware of where it is strong and where it fails so that you can adapt your playstyle accordingly.
Look at the kill feed. Zyment finds a couple of Iceland snipes and gets himself a couple of exiles as well. One going to be on Defo and the other was on Juice CF. So a couple of these players in our event taken down at the hands of Zyment. That Ice Gauntlet, Frost Gauntlet, yeah, just too strong, man, too strong. And we see Bastion kind of hanging out here. And I mean, even just looking back up into kill feed, very crisp finding a kill. Eternal finding a kill. Now the Dragonfire combination coming out from Bastion, just poking. Look at that. That's 3 kills in a row from Zyment. Zyment's having a nice pop-off game. We might have to try to see if we can peek in with him because this is just apparently the game for him. See a stealth player running around the field. Liskio hanging out. Moktola might be in a tough situation back against the wall.
This might be Zyment.
We saw how he performed in this situation just last game. He's finding those lightning bolts. He's going to go ahead and reposition, though. I think there was a...
Oh, my goodness!
Zyment flooding the kill feed. 4 kills to his name back to back to back. You can see it in the kill feed right now. The Tempest Frost Gauntlet is too strong. So he's going to be looking to reposition. That Shadow Step did come out, and Zyment, he actually does have the Scavenging as well. So you have to assume that he maybe have been, was low on shields just prior to getting that kill. Finds himself a little bit of these gear upgrades here, and might want to get a little bit more educated. He's got the legendary amulet as well. Oh, look at this Stone Shaper coming out of nowhere. That's the stealth Stone Shaper. You can't make a play like that and not have it pay off, but Zyment is going to show him why.
Oh, that's a beautiful flash freeze too. He knows his opponent is trying to hit him with a little bit of lightning there, and that is his weakness. That's some beautiful movement. Oh my goodness, this man putting in the APM. He's putting in the practice, and look at him go. Unfortunately, that lightning is his exact counter, so he will need to try to break line of sight in any way that he can. Nice use of the wind and the dash there to go ahead and get in that little tunnel. It's so difficult for a conduit to follow you if there is an obstacle in the way. So beautiful stuff from him, and he is landing these Frost Snipes, as we're seeing here. All 5 of his exiles have been from the Frost, and he's not running Spell Slinger either, so you have to imagine he is so confident in his mechanics that he can just let it carry him throughout this entire tournament. And with double digits still left in the lobby, we might be seeing a double-digit exile count here at the end of the day. We'll see if it works out for him. The Scavenger's definitely going to help him. He is sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, Thorax, Lanky Seamoose, both finding themselves some exiles in the kill feed. Asiento Ace hanging out here on the edge of the zone. I believe that's a 0 for his exile count currently. Yeah, but he's looking for a potential third party. That's going to be Bastion. Cleans up on Lanky Seamoose, most likely a third party on that last fight from him. And one thing I wanted to bring up from that last fight that we were watching was who do we have on board? Who were we looking at? Why is it escaping me?
Zyment. We were looking at
Zyment. Yeah, we were watching Zyment, the reusage of Updraft. I really wanted to make note of that. He actually used the Updraft, looked for a snipe, dashes back into his own tornado to look for another Updraft. But as I say Asiento Ace is getting so low, just has to try to find some space. But no, not only is he not going to be able to get away, no one is going to shut him down, find himself a second exile of the game. And yeah, very crisp, doing the same onto a player in the kill feed. But yeah, man, Zyment landing the back-to-back shots. Bastion coming in with another exile as well, and we're going to see what no one can do here. This player looks to potentially contest him, but we'll see. He's actually getting very aggressive. He has that Mana Vault. The Lightning Strike potentially going to come down, not going to land any damage there. He does get a little bit. The Dragonfire combination not going to land. We'll see what no one decides to do. I think he's still looking on the offensive, but he's playing around that Mana Vault, kind of just holding this zone coverage.
You know what else he's playing around is that he wants his stun to come back online as well. He knows that if he can land a stun and his opponent doesn't have Harmony or anything that's going to mitigate that CC, that he can just follow up with a free 70 damage at least from that Epic Fire. So that might be part of his strategy too. I'm not sure if his opponent is healing or if he used the Firefly. It looks like we didn't quite get any eyes on it. But I want to point out there is another person in the kill feed you want to watch out for, and that is Thorax. He actually had 4 exiles last game, and while his placement wasn't great, he almost got 1,000 damage, and he is showing up in the kill feed now, and especially Very Crisp is showing up as well, and the beautiful movement from the Firefly. You love to see it, and he is positioning himself in such a way that he'll be on the outside part of this fight towards the zone, and now if he has any third parties come up on him, they'll all be in front of him, so he can keep eyes on every single approach. This is absolutely beautiful macro play from Bastion LMAO.
Yeah, the positioning looking very nice. Again, we talk about hanging out on the edge of the zone. This is Liskio. I think one of our pub players potentially. Is he in our game?
I believe so. I don't think he is in our lineup.
Okay, so yeah, he's not in our lineup, but he's hanging out in here. Your boy Ross finding. Oh, look at that! The king of the Icelands gets taken down by your boy Ross. Zyman's game gets cut a little bit short, but hey, you have to assume he got some great damage in. Yushiro getting a little bit of a reset for himself as well. 1 exile to his name, and Yagamo now playing. It's the build, man. I'm telling you, I've been looking to see him take this build deeper into the game, but it's not coincidence anymore. It's not just the RNG. Chris taking a little bit of damage, has to use that teleport. The conduit has that extra charge, so he's going to go ahead and reposition as well. Has 2 more of these small shards, but look at this player inside the face of Chris. Chris landing the damage, and yes, he finds the elimination. That's going to be just Nova getting taken down. The exile coming out as Flying Pie is going to find one of his own.
And notice how he's staggering his armor shards too. He didn't even start to heal the armor shards until after the fight was over, not even trying to find an opportunity to heal it, because he knows the recklessness is going to be coming in, and he has that thing fully maxed out. But while I'm talking about look at the kill feed. Thorax. That's exactly what I was talking about. He comes up with a nice double kill, probably a third-party opportunity given like the closeness of when that happened. But anyway, back to Very Crisp. That recklessness is actually coming in very, very handy. He's not opting to run the focus mana build like we normally see in the public lobbies, but Flying Pie just gets destroyed.
Thorax finding a third in a row as Yagamo finds a kill onto Very Crisp, and now it is cutting down quite a bit, but Thorax is showing us why he's the player to watch here. He's got an enemy player very low below him. He's going to be rocking that scavenging as well, so all of these kills just getting such great value for him. So he's just trying to dip and dodge between these little castle walls. The Shadow Step is coming out. He's looking for a fourth. Yes, he's going to find it. Thorax is looking to pop off 7 exiles using some of these shards, but look at the inventory. He has so many to work with as Yagamo's trying to find a little bit of a chase here as well. Hanging out here on the edge. The zone is starting to pinch further, so now Thorax, Yagamo, they have to rotate together potentially. They're going to be looking to find some damage. He has that lightning shock. So you're going to be able to place it just in front of him. No, it's not going to connect, but the damage is coming out. The lightning bolts are raining down. Is Thorax going to be able to find himself out of this situation? It doesn't look so. But Yagamo getting caught up on the terrain here. You have to be able to position properly. And look at that, Thorax finding another exile.
Wow. And the Scavenger is going to help him out a little bit, but the freeze is going to come out from It's Your Boy Ross, and he's going to pick up that cheeky little exile. Now he has 2 to his name, and he's trying to make it 3. He gets caught up in the terrain there. That's unfortunate for him, and now his opponent is just going to be going in. He actually hit that directly, I think. Holy moly, look at his accuracy coming
landing
in.
Still, the 1v1, the last seconds left in this game. They are both down to their last little bit of health. Your boy Ross takes a Dragonfire combination to the face. A Toxic Cloud getting ignited by the Fireball, and now looking for a situation where he can reset, but that's going to be too long. Has to line up the shot. He is going to connect with that, but they are both so low. He's on the last little bit of rune charge. He has a flash freeze. Will he be looking to pop it? Looking for the shot. Not going to connect with that one. He pops the flash freeze. Such close proximity. He has to try to avoid a shot here. He's just getting barely away from that Dragonfire, trying to find an icicle.
No!
He steps back into it. If he doesn't land this shot, he's got 1 more rune charge. He has to make a play right here, and he finds it!
Oh my goodness, look at him go. Now the unfortunate misstep from the Dragonfire that he finds himself floating in, it doesn't matter because he just made it up with a beautiful snipe. I see the look on your face. It was my look just a second ago. You're gonna have to see that again because that was amazing. Can we get another one? There we go. Now, look at this. That's a very difficult shot right there. It's straight down, but he puts up the flash freeze to sort of block off that higher bit of access, manages to dodge the Dragonfire, unfortunately falls in this one. That's 2 ticks of 20 that he almost lost out of, but look at this beautiful snipe. Under pressure, the highest pressure you can be under, you're 1 shot away, and he ends up making up for it with that beautiful shot.
This long period of silence that I've had has given me a lot of time to reflect, and I think I know what I saw. I think the Ice Goblin just got too cold. He couldn't land the shot. He had to step in the fire to heat himself up. He had to step in the dragon fire, warm himself up, get the blood flowing. Bow, finds the shot, gets the kill, gets the win.
Beautiful. Maybe just had to shake off the armor a little bit, maybe get it a little heated up, and then just wind back up, and there it goes. The 43 damage coming out. And that's very interesting too, because a fireball wouldn't have done it. 43 damage, that's only possible if you get a frost from his build. So very nicely done, keeping the heads up play. You know he loves to use that frost gauntlet, and it just worked out so well for him. So good stuff to him for getting the first place finish there. But I want to call out Very Crisp for bringing out the 6 exiles, over 1,300 damage. And if I can find Thorax in my list, he actually dropped 8.
Thorax.
1,500. And I called him out during the middle of the game, and you have to believe he is on cloud 9 right now, taking out all of these players.
He flooded the kill feed, 3 kills. He got into an engagement, found the 4th, getting pressure on the edge of the zone, finds a fit. I mean, it was just back to back to back. Unfortunately, listen, your boy Ross took advantage of that situation, right? Like they were pressured, they're on that storm line, they're forced to rotate in. So your boy Ross takes him out, but I mean, can you ask for a better game? You know what I mean? What a great game. Definitely going to help and reflect in the placements in terms of his point gain. And now we have what looks like one more game ahead of us in Qualifier 3.
That's right. And keep in mind, we've been saying it all event. Only your best 4 games are going to show up on that final score list. So this is your chance. If you've had a bad tournament, if you had a bad game, you can completely cover that up with this next one. It doesn't even matter. You can throw it in the trash because we're not going to look at it. So hopefully we can have some more pop-offs coming out. I want to just say this is a tournament that has been progressing more and more. We're seeing people separate themselves out from the crowd. We had Frozen on the early on NA, kind of unlucky in the EU side of things so far, but maybe he'll show up again. And then we had Zyman, we had Thorax, we had Very Crisp really separate themselves out from the pack, and that's what you love to see. You love to see these players express themselves in a way that wins you games, and I would love to see some more of that here in Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see what happens, man. There have been back and forth action from some of these players. Again, I don't feel like we've had a front runner throughout the course of this whole qualifier. But one thing that I can say, minus I want to say game number 3, your boy Ross has kept the consistency. He's moving it along. He gets himself an end game. Maybe not the most exiles. He gets another win. You know what I mean? Like it's been a pretty consistent performance. So I'm really looking forward to seeing not only how can he carry himself with that momentum into game number 6, but where will he fall on the final leaderboards, as we're going to be jumping into game momentarily. And here we are, game number 6, the last and final game of Qualifier 3. We got Thorax on board again. Look at this, the early game landing here at the arena. He's going to get a little bit educated on the scavenging, and maybe he sees an enemy player. Maybe he doesn't want to risk it. He does have that purple belt, so he had to have taken a little bit of damage from somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and cycle around the map, and Dosenpenner looking to find, hopefully, a pretty fruitful game for him in this this last game, number 6.
Yeah, for sure. And we see Aerosmith there getting into a little bit of a scuffle there. That's a nice homage to one of my favorite bands of all time. So shout out to him. And now we see Asiento Ace kind of looting up. Everyone's just kind of taking this one slow, except for the kill feed though. Zyman already taking out Flying Pie TV. And we also see Just Nova getting a kill as well. And Frozen NQ is back. He finally got another exile. It's been a while, and here he is showing himself off. And now we see Juicy F hopping into this beautiful little player here. He's fluttering around like a pretty little butterfly. Now, you'll notice that Juicy's loot here, he did hop on a mana vault early on, so I hope that pays off for him. He's opting to run the focus mana build, and you know what that means for his stone. If he ends up getting an epic or legendary stone, he's doing over 50 damage, ladies and gentlemen. So you want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, focus mana build, and I'm interested to see how it plays out. I'm going to bring a little bit of my own personal thoughts and feelings and bias into this build. I have been playing a lot of Stone Shaper Fire, and man, I gotta give it to anybody that runs that build without Runic Fluency. It is very hard to close the gap on some of these players to land the damage. But look at this, Zyman showing us why he might be one of the best like at the very least Tempest Frost users, but Frost Gauntlet users, this man is consistent with those Iceland shots. He lands that shot, no one finding himself an elimination, an exile in the kill feed. Frozen, Juicy Louie, I mean, lots of potential players. I mean, I think even Lanky Simu finds himself an exile in the kill feed as well, but oh, Defo back against the wall. He's trying to kite around. He has no more mobility, and that's Frozen takes advantage of it, gets himself his 3rd exile on the game right now.
Hey, finally showed up. That's what I like to see. And going back to what we were talking about with Zymet there, he was fully educated in recovery. You know how powerful that is early on? I mean, you basically have a belt without having a belt. Like, it's actually insane. And now we're seeing some more of his gameplay right here. That was actually a pretty quick jump back to him, but the conduit is going to give him some trouble. If he can land the snipes, though, he's going to make up that damage very, very quickly, but he needs to be able to get close range. That's the awkwardness of his build, right? He can definitely land some snipes from long range, but that conduit is going to be pumping out consistent damage with no downtime. And he really doesn't have a great close range option unless he just goes in his face and gets some wind shears off. But even then, it's barely more than a conduit. So it's kind of awkward for him. Maybe he opts to drop out of this fight. Maybe he realizes the position that he's in and tries to engage on someone else. But we're going to hop around, see if we can find any more action. We do. No one TV is going to be coming in. There's so many TVs out here. I haven't seen a good flat screen in quite a while, but I'm seeing plenty of them in this lobby here. Let's see if we can go ahead and get on to Frozen. Another one of our contestants is doing so well, and he's making this conduit matchup no match. That teleport coming out, though,
that might be Crisp, just seeing the conduit, seeing the teleport coming out. Frozen is a little bit on the chase here. He is going to be playing that Tempest class, and now look at this. He's just trying to close the gap. Like, I mean, yeah, he's Tempest versus Lightning, but he does have the health advantage. So as long as he can keep the chase consistent, he'll be looking to find himself an exile. But what did Thorax just snipe that kill?
Looks like it. It looks like he did. That definitely wasn't very Chris, because Chris likes to run the tree line skin. This one's more of a, I forget the exact name, but we used to call it Soccer Mom back in the day. So that definitely wasn't crisp, but it looks like Thorax is just sitting pretty saying, hey, this was my kill all along, and now you're about to be number 2. So we better be careful. And now we see Oni-chan is what I'm going to call this one. That's an interesting reference. I wonder where that's from. Anyways, landed some pretty good damage off the Dragonfire there. I don't think that was his own fire. I think he just predicted that his opponent would fire at him like that and just put down the Toxic Cloud. But he is finding himself on the losing end of this trade. Maybe he wants to separate himself out. I'm not quite sure what he wants to do, but he has no movement, and he needs to be very, very careful, because this could very well be a tournament player. We know how good those players are.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at this, the Stone Shaper damage, that shockwave damage rather, coming out in, you know, a dominating fashion. So he's going to have to back himself up. We do see the kill feed. I'm just trying to keep up with some of these players. I mean, Moktola finding an elimination, Zyman, Lanky Simu. So the exiles are just coming up from these players. We see Bastion having a nice humble game. Game number 6, Juicy Louie has 1 exile to his name as well. We're going to be seeing if we can find a little bit of action, but the zone is starting to pull these players together. 18 players left alive in total. We see Moktola, 2 exiles, and he's on the chase here. The lightning strike goes down. This player is going to be all but confirmed. And yes, the flight, it doesn't matter if he can get a little bit of LOS here. Will he be able to chase up on it? He doesn't have any more mobility. Is he going to be able to catch up? He does have the Firefly. Is he going to? Yeah, he's going to go ahead and use this Firefly, uses the dash, carrying that momentum into this. Is he going to be able to find that kill? Very Chris gets the lightning bolt finish, the lightning damage finish onto Juicy CF, Juice CF. And now this is another fight. Unfortunately, Moktola was not able to finish his. This looks like could be a Tempest player looking to join the fight here.
Yeah, and I'd recognize that Tundra skin anywhere. That's definitely Frozen, and now this is a different player hopping on. It looks like they're trying to just make Moktola's day so hard. He does manage to sidestep that fire. If he angles that one just a little bit further down, maybe he goes ahead and gets the combust damage. Moktola making great use of that fighter jet Firefly coming out, though. It's excellent for closing up some damage, definitely traveling a lot further than you normally can. And also, it just looks cool because there's more motion blur. I just love it so much.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. So we see Very Chris hanging out. He's got a nice little loadout, but unfortunately, looking at him in this current situation, he does not have any shards. But that might be, I mean, looking at the situation that he's in here, he sees that player's down to his HP bar, getting some of those lightning bolt shots. is this something you just full engage on? I mean, how desperate and how much does he need the potential shards and the potential loot?
Well, what an eventful day this has been. Welcome back, Crashy.
Are we here?
You're actually on Earth again. We just got sent to the aether there for a second there. Quick explanation of what just happened. So Dr. Nutt's neighborhood apparently is having some issues. His power did go out, but thankfully we were able to still get the scores for everybody. So unfortunately, while we did miss the second half of Game 6, I promise you these are 100% not forged and not rigged scores. So he is getting the top 5 graphic all done for you guys. Man, what an event. It went off with a bang, didn't it? That combust was just too much.
It's funny because you talk about like a bang and a combust, but I mean, let's be real. He fell in the fracture.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was a fracture. It was a self-fracture.
How could I have not known that the fracture was involved?
That's clearly what it was. But hey, man, unfortunately, we don't get to catch the last little bit of that game, but we do get to catch the standings and the scores, and that's what matters on the day, right? That's what matters on the day. So we're going to be taking a peek at that here in just a minute. So we're getting all the data nice and compiled in, and we'll have to see. What are you thinking? I mean, what were your thoughts going toward the end of that? I saw, for me personally, the standout was like that Thorax game. Your boy Ross keeping the consistency. We talked about keeping the consistency, and then he had a really great game. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you're going to be, I'm looking at some of these stats. I think you're going to be a little surprised at how accurate my predictions are. But anyway, there are some names that are completely new to me, okay? I did not expect to get so many new names up here in the top 5. And we're going to be, I know I'm teasing you right now, but we're going to be going over there pretty shortly. And man, I just got to say, I think your boy Ross had a good day. We saw Zyment popping off there in the EU side of things. And we especially saw my boy Thorax pop off there, especially in Game 5 with that 8 exile finish. So I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised on a few of these.
Yeah, I believe so. There's one player specifically that I was expecting some good things from, and then he had an amazing game. And he got 3rd place. And that was going to be Moktola. Moktola had a really phenomenal game. Got us all the way to that 3rd place position. I want to say, I think I remember him having 5 or 6 exiles that game, and he got taken out by the lobby player, the random EU player. But yeah. Hey, man, first of all, we gotta find that. Yeah, we gotta find that man because he needs to sign up for Element because he was doing amazing on that Tempest build. But yeah, it was a really good performance in that game coming out from Moktola. So I'm excited to see where he falls on the standings. But again, yeah. This one, we didn't have a very clear front runner for a long time, and then we started to see some of that definition and that carving out of the placements really start to happen toward the end.
All right, well, here we are going to show up our scoreboard real quick, and here we go. Like I said, my man, Thorax coming out in 1st place. That Game 5 absolutely carried him through this tournament, and Zyment coming out with so much power in EU with those frost snipes. What a beautiful display from those two. And your boy Moktola made it up here as well.
Yeah, your boy Ross, he kept the consistency, lands himself a 4th place finish. And Frozen, man, I might have to actually have like a conversation with him, sit down, understand where this guy came from, because he's been consistently doing well. And as far as the narrative that I've heard, the rhetoric that's been surrounding the name of Frozen NQ, he's a launch player, like new to the game. He's picking up the mechanics. He's popping off, and look at that, another top of the leaderboard finish for him. But Thorax, man, that last little bit, that reign of terror that he had going into the game where your boy Ross actually finds the win, that was impressive.
Yeah, and I've never even heard of Thorax or Zyment before. That's what I was getting at. I mean, Frozen, we saw him in qualifier number 1 take 3rd place. He comes back in qualifier number 3 just to fill in and says, hey, I could get top 5 again. And here he is. And while it was very close on the placements down below this, I mean, that's just so impressive to come out in 2 separate events and be that consistent. That's what's really going to get you very far in Spellbreak. And here's the breakdown of all of these stats right here. You'll notice that the darkened highlighted areas are the biggest value or the best value for each category. And you see Thorax come out here, total exiles edging it up by 1. with 24 on the day, average per game is 4. He gets the exile count very, very nicely. Zymet on the damage score, which is actually very, very surprising because he's running the Tempest. Usually Tempest is that kind of class that is always in your area. You don't really get very many opportunities to heal whenever you're up against a Tempest because they can just quickly wind slap you. And then he's rocking with the Frost. So those are very, very quick exiles. But somehow he takes the highest damage. And I think that's very, very impressive. What are some things you see up here?
The consistency of the snipes coming out from Zymet definitely shining through. And, single game highest exiles was 9 coming out from Frozen NQ. So what a performance there. And actually, we fall down a little bit. We get down to that 11th place spot. Kalinor had the single game highest damage. So that actually kept him up there. Unfortunately, he didn't have some of that longevity, the 4 games that he needed to really push himself up. And so that's not the performance that he wants to have, but we can see the potential in the play of that player. I think that's obvious, right? We're going to be seeing a lot more of Kalinor in the future, as we'll be seeing him have a little bit better games. He won't miss out on a couple of the games. So we definitely have to kind of take this performance from him with a little bit of a grain of salt, but an amazing performance across the board. No one keeping himself up there. Eternal was finding a lot of kills. Bastion keeping himself high up on the standings as well. Really great performance from a lot of these players.
Yeah, and I think this just goes to reiterate here. You can be the best player in the world, and unfortunately for Kalinor, you have to make sure that your hardware is good to go, your Wi-Fi is good to go. You need to make sure that you have the right region locked in these tournaments because we do have a multi-region tournament going on. You just have to make absolutely sure that you are good to go. Because he is an NA player, and the 2 games that he missed were on the NA server. So that could have been a huge swing there in the final little bits of that. So just something to keep in mind for you players that are new to the tournaments. Make sure that your hardware and that your region is good to go before you miss a lobby. Because if you miss 2, we only have 4 to go off on. So that's all we got.
Yeah, forcing yourself, unfortunately, or forcing himself in that particular set of circumstances to have a much higher consistency than would normally be required from a player because, battle royales, there is that level of RNG and you see it across the board where, hey, sometimes you're going to have a bad game. You're not going to make it off spawn. You're not going to get the loadout you want. And so that's why we allow that 6 game total, to count 4 games to see, just how consistent you can be across 4 of your games. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for him in this one, but I'm looking forward to the future. So, hey, man, what a dominating performance from Thorax in that. I can't stop thinking about that play. And not only was it just like the 3-4 kills in a row, but it was that 5th kill as he was being held on that storm line. They were being forced to push in. And, that performance alone definitely threw him really high up in the standings. And it was super fun to watch. Super fun to watch Zymet just popping off, getting kills. Your boy Ross and Zymet, I think they're playing, I don't remember the talent specifically, but they're playing like that same build, the Tempest, offhand Frost. I've played that build. You got to hit the shots. You don't have damage in your kit unless you're just forcing yourself into their face with these wind shears. You got to land the shots, man. It's a fun build to play, but it's also impressive to see pulled into competitive play as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, as much as I'd love to chat with you all day, and I would, we are kind of keeping everyone hostage here. So we'll go ahead and let you go. Again, if you'd like to donate to Element, sorry for the technical issues, but if you'd like to go ahead and donate, just that little bit right there, you can get your name right up here. There's a donate button down below. Everything goes to prize pools. I don't see a penny of it. Crashy doesn't get a penny of it. Even our production squad doesn't get a penny of it. This is all community ran for you guys, and you can help support the community by funding these tournaments if you would like. So with that, I think we're going to send off another raid. I forget who we're going to. Looks like we are going to OP as I hear my trusty, rusty headphones. So we'll be sending those off here very, very shortly. Just make sure that you're back here next week for the next set of qualifiers. It'll be qualifier number 4. I've been OSK, and Crashy, I'll let you send it off.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. Element Phoenix, we're coming in storm. The players are hot. They're heavy. They're ready to compete. And this is grassroots, man. You got to love this. You have to appreciate the initiative, the hard work that comes out from everybody, from production, admins, the players that come and show up, us, the casters, my beautiful co-caster, literally and both with his voice, OSK. And, of course, huge shout out to play safe as well. Play safe. He was in the chat. He's hanging out. He's busy today, but we love to have him on as well. So we're looking forward to hearing more of that, man. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you guys next weekend.